Welcome everybody to a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video today, and this week sees a lot of old school nostalgia love. Man, this week is full of it, especially 4K upgrade love, including the Looney Tunes movie extravaganza, Space Jam, the 2010 Edgar Wright directed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. You also have the most important one of them all, everyone's favorite space duck, Howard the Duck. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a little Howard the Duck in their lives? I mean, seriously. You have that. You also have Paramount releasing under their Paramount Presents line the Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy action comedy 48 Hours and the sequel, another 48 Hours. And MVD is releasing two old school horror flicks from 1983, Mortuary and The House on Sorority Row. Plus much more. So let's go see the deals, exclusives, and we are at our first location, Walmart. So let's go in and see what they got. All right, everybody, we are in at Walmart, and it does still look pretty decently filled, actually. It really does. No new releases or 4K upgrades, but hey, it doesn't look half bad. Just not what I was hoping for, put it that way, guys. I mean, they still have a ton of GVK love, Nobody, The Unholy, Long Halloween, Rhea, Voyagers. Yeah, they still have all of the same stuff we've seen for weeks and weeks, just not the actual new stuff. But they do actually have the G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and they have G.I. Joe Retaliation. Now, these editions they've got in at Walmart are actually up to $8 towards one movie ticket towards the new upcoming release of G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. Okay, there you go. So, on one hand, they're promoting Snake Eyes, but they're also trying to get rid of some G.I. Joe stock. I see what they're doing. I do indeed, man. I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest fan of these two G.I. Joe movies. I mean, they're not absolutely complete garbage, but as an old school fan of G.I. Joe, who watched the cartoons when I was a kid many years ago, they just didn't really do what I was hoping for with them. I know they got to update it for modern times. It's got to be sleek and cool, and you know, with beautiful movie stars and hot babes, and you know, a kick-ass rockin' soundtrack. I get it. You know, you got to update shit for modern times, but I was hoping for something a little different, man. I mean, Rise of Cobra isn't terrible, but it doesn't exactly light my world on fire either. I'll put it that way. G.I. Joe Retaliation, I mean, as far as action is concerned, it's probably maybe a little bit better than The Rise of Cobra, but not a lot. I mean, obviously the movie got more high profile because of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he's kinda cool here, but it gets offset by a really terrible Bruce Willis that's shooting a huge fucking ass gun outside of a truck with bad CGI around him. Yeah, just what I wanted to see. I'm surprised he didn't say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, but I think this is a PG-13 film, so yeah, no yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, or yippee-ki-yay, motherfreaker. When that day happens, I'm officially retiring from YouTube. I'm officially doing it, guys. I'm telling you, man. I don't know. I mean, I think all things considered, it's decent. But see, when I think of G.I. Joe, I think like old school war movie is what I think of. I think like old school war, like almost like a Sergeant Rock type of a film that they would be able to do. you know, sort of old school with these old school personalities and a great like old school war type setting, which could be really cool. But again, G.I. Joe doesn't really care about that. They want, you know, the sweaty action heroes. They want the cool costumes. They want the hot babes coming out of the good-looking cars, and that's what they want, man. And I feel like action movies now. I think we're slowly getting back to great old school style stuff like John Wick, and yeah, it still carries over a lot of that sort of sleek modern day stuff, but I kind of feel like for a while action movies were going so far in the more sleek and just new age type of action, and it kind of was really disconnecting to me. I really wasn't really feeling it. And I feel like G.I. Joe Retaliation and G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra are sort of some of the, I don't want to say worst of the bunch, but they're just kind of mundane. They're not memorable. They're nowhere near as good as the cartoon stuff. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see The Rock kick ass and beat the shit out of people, but then again, you can see that in God knows how many movies, so I don't know. And with Bruce Willis, look, Bruce Willis has seen way better days. Way better than G.I. Joe Retaliation, so I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sort of half and half. I think they're just okay, but they're not really the greatest. And as far as Snake Eyes is concerned, I mean, I've seen the trailer. I like the trailer for what it is. But could it be more of the same that we've seen before from G.I. Joe? Maybe. Or maybe it'll be better. I mean, I'm always hoping, but I still hope for that old school G.I. Joe war film one of these days. Yeah. My dreams more than actual reality, guys, but unfortunately that's probably what happened. Will we ever get a really great G.I. Joe film? Maybe when I'm dead and buried. And until then, we're just gonna have to deal with Channing Tatum pretending to be badass, and Bruce Willis trying to relive the glory days through G.I. Joe. Yeah. God help us. Jesus Christ. But that's really all they have, guys. I mean, they don't have any other new releases, no other 4K upgrade love or any of the other indie stuff that came out this week. Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, they don't have any of that, and even over here, you know, some of the same old stuff that we've seen before, nothing really new. I mean, they do have actually a area for the Space Jam 4K, but no Space Jam 4K. Yeah, this is Walmart after all. Am I really that surprised? Nah, not really, guys. Not really at all. Well, I suppose better luck next time. And when I mean by better luck next time, I mean next week. Yeah. Alright. Let's head out. Have you been missing the G.I. Joe love in your life? Have you been wanting those G.I. Joe releases with that sweet $8 movie cash for Snake Eyes? Well, wait no longer, ladies and gentlemen, because Walmart has all your G.I. Joe fix, baby. Can't say that they have any of the 4K upgrade love this week or any of the other new releases that came out this week, but boy, oh boy, do they have your G.I. Joe fix of movies that have been out for some years now with $8 movie cash. That's just the ticket to get you to rebuy. Oh, Walmart, Walmart, Walmart. Gotta love it. Oh, indeed I do, man. Indeed I do, big time, man. Sometimes this Walmart really surprises me. Sometimes it really does. And then there are other moments where I'm like, oh, I'm reminded that this is a Walmart. Yeah. And by the way, those Godzilla vs. Kong Blu-rays, all of them that were on the shelf, by the way, they were on the top of the shelf when I came in. I actually put those in their proper places today. That wasn't the Walmart employees, no, that was me. I actually was doing the Walmart employees' jobs by actually putting them in their proper place on the proper shelves. Yeah. Sometimes physical media is valued here, and sometimes not so much. It's give and take every single week, guys. You know that. Hey, this week, not so much. Next week, we can see a plethora of stuff. Like I said, it's sometimes the luck of the draw. Sometimes you win big, and sometimes you flat out become a loser. And this week, yeah. Hey, there's always next week, and I am always a hopeful optimist, so let's hope that that is definitely the case, guys. I guess we'll just have to wait till next week. Until then, well, only G.I. Joe movie love. Well, let's hope that there's more than that at the other locations. Alright, everybody, we are at our second location, Target. But before I go in, I want to talk to you guys about something, and it's actually something that I've been noticing as of late. So I've been going movie hunting a lot, and I've also been seeing a lot of YouTube videos of people movie hunting, and I'm seeing a lot of Disney titles out there, like a lot of Disney stuff, man. And it feels like with all these streaming services now, people are deciding why keep their physical media when they have a streaming service like Disney Plus, and they don't really need any of the physical media that they had. It's all right there at your fingertips, all in one place. Why do you really need to keep the media? And so a lot of people are getting rid of their stuff, man. And I'm actually kind of curious as to what you guys think of this, because, you know, on one hand, I understand their way of thinking on this. Their way of thinking is, well, hold on a second. I mean, it's all a one-stop shop. I don't really need to invest in keeping my physical media. On the other hand, let's think about this for a second. Disney Plus is a huge entity. Not like it's going away anytime soon. Okay, it's just not. But what about the cost? Think about that for a second. So, if you guys didn't know, every single month, they are upping Disney Plus by $1. Now, I don't know how long they're going to keep on doing this for, but for the time being, every single month, they are upping it by $1. So, where is the sweet spot, so to speak? And I'm serious about this, because it's the same thing with everybody else out there. You want to get rid of cable. You don't like cable, but at the same time, you still want your entertainment. So you end up going out of your way to get a lot of these streaming services. And then you start looking at your bills. And then you start realizing, well, wait a second. I'm starting to pay cable prices, and this is getting ridiculous. And you have to start to cut corners. And when do you start saying, God, you know, as much as I love this streaming platform, it is starting to get a little bit out of my price range. And I think Disney will get there at a certain point. I mean, as much as I like Disney Plus, as much as I'm watching a lot of stuff with my girlfriend on there, I also realize, do I need it all the time? No, I don't technically need it all the time, because I have my physical media. A lot of the movies that Disney Plus has on there that they tout, oh, we have this, I already have it. And so, I think when people get rid of physical media, they're not looking at the long picture. They're looking at the shorter aspect of it that says, hey, look, by the way, I'm getting rid of this, and I'm getting rid of this because, well, there's no need to, because I already have it on the streaming platform. But then again, nobody is factoring in the fact that you need the internet for your streaming platforms. And again, sometimes the internet is great, and sometimes it's shitty. Also, look, it comes down to content as well, because sometimes Disney Plus will not have some of those movies. Sometimes there's licensing agreements with other studios and other platforms, and they may have it for a few years, and then suddenly it goes off of the platform. Why? Because it now goes to the next streaming app or platform, and now they suddenly have to work on now switching over to that one to get the content that they want, and vice versa, and everything like that. People are so quick. They're so quick to get rid of things. They really are, man. I mean, you paid a fee to have that DVD or that Blu-ray or that 4K. You've paid a fee for that. And that was a one-time fee. You now don't have to pay anything more for that. It's all yours and that's it. However, you're willing to pay every single month to watch the same movies over and over again when you already had it in your collection. How does that make any sense? That makes literally no sense whatsoever. But people want to choose convenience. And I look at things like what Walmart is doing with that $8 movie cash. And having, you know, Rise of Cobra there and Retaliation and selling it in that. And, hey, well, here's an incentive to buy the physical media copy because it comes with the $8 movie cash. And now we're doing all of these incentives because, quite frankly, a lot of people see streaming as the be-all, end-all. And that basically there is nothing left to really talk about when it comes to physical media. That physical media is old news, streaming is new, and what is there to discuss? Well, there's a lot to discuss. And so trying to have those discussions with people, they always say, well, you know, you just want to hang on to the old ways. You don't want to do everything on streaming. No, I don't. I'm not saying there isn't advantages to streaming, because there is. There is a lot of content on streaming that I cannot get anywhere else. And so, yes, some of that I like. And there are some really great movies and TV shows on streaming that I want to keep up with. Sure. But there's a lot of stuff out there that, unfortunately, these platforms are exploiting at this point. They're exploiting it for content because, at this point, that's what they have. It's content. They're holding the content because if they hold it, then you're eventually going to want it. And if you can't get it anywhere else, then you're just going to get it there. And I consider physical media important not only for preservation purposes, because I think that's extremely important for preservation of cinema, because I don't think streaming is going to do that. But I also see it as a way to cut the cord in a lot of ways from some of these platforms that are just keeping the content for themselves and not willing to give it to the rest of the actual community. And physical media is a way to basically get out from under these companies, man. I mean, yes, there will always be things that are not on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K. There's always going to be those movies. But to just get rid of all this media just for the sake of a streaming platform that you don't even know if you're going to keep in a year's time, that's a little harsh. It's a little rash of a decision, don't you think? I think it is. I don't know about you guys. I mean, definitely let me know what you guys think of that, but yeah, I think right now, I think with any new thing that comes out, and it was the same thing with DVDs. People got rid of VHS to get the DVDs. People were starting to get rid of DVDs to get the Blu-rays. And everything new, people jump on. But before you jump on it, really think about it before you get rid of something that you might regret. That's easier said than done. You guys know that. But as far as the rest of the population, sometimes they're just going to have to learn the hard way. It's honestly the truth, man. I mean, definitely let me know what you guys think of that. It's kind of fascinating to see people already jumping the gun and getting rid of stuff when maybe that isn't always the smartest decision. At least that's what I think, guys. But definitely let me know. In the meantime, well, there is some good stuff coming out this week. well, as long as we can find it. Walmart, not so much, but hey, maybe Target. They have been surprisingly good as of late, so maybe yet again, it's possible. But let's head in and check it out. Alright everybody, we are in at Target, and it actually looks like a lot of the same similar stuff we've seen for the past few or so weeks. There is one thing new that Walmart didn't have, and that is new this week. And hey, one thing, at least for the time being, not bad. I'll definitely take it, guys. And that is the DVD of Defending Jacob for $23.99. Family is unconditional. Yes, indeed it is, baby. With Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery. Nice. Look at this. Now, I have actually heard about Defending Jacob. I've heard of the miniseries, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because it was actually only available on Apple TV. So, yeah, I was actually kind of shit out of luck, as actually most people were. If you didn't have Apple TV, yet another streaming platform I would have to invest in just to watch Defending Jacob. There's no reason to. I mean, I love Chris Evans, don't get me wrong. I love a lot of stuff he's in. I just don't see the need to get another streaming service just for one thing I need to watch. That's how they get you, guys, I'm telling you. He's based on the New York Times best-selling novel, A Shocking Crime, Small Massachusetts Town, District Attorney, Sworn Duty, Bold Justice, and his unconditional love for his son. A thriller. Oh, it's got J.K. Simmons in it too. No kidding. Nice. I really do love a good courtroom drama. I mean, movies like Runaway Jury, The Firm, The Rainmaker, Primal Fear. Primal Fear is great, man. That great one with Richard Gere and Edward Norton. That is an awesome, awesome movie, man. And that's a really great flick. I really do love Defending Jacob quite a bit, man. That is a good one. This kind of actually reminds me, in a small way, just the idea of this courtroom drama and the twists and turns of it. It might resemble maybe a little bit of Primal Fear, man. And Primal Fear is awesome. So if it even resembles, even kind of close to that movie, then this miniseries could be really cool, man. I mean, again, I like a good courtroom drama when it's done right. If there's a good intrigue, if the case is something that is very thrilling and mysterious and you don't know where it's going next. Some courtroom dramas are a little bit mundane, a little bit boring and predictable. You can kind of see that stuff coming, but there's a lot of really good ones out there that are really, really fantastic, man. It just depends on the story and how they approach it. I've never read the novel, but I love the cast here. Man, I love Chris Evans, and J.K. Simmons is awesome, man. I would have loved to have watched this, but I'm just not paying the money for Apple TV. I'm just not doing it, man. I mean, I think this is the problem, the slippery slope with streaming services now. I'm so glad this is getting a physical media release, because at least now people can actually own it and buy the physical copy instead of having to just have the streaming service for the sake of wanting to watch just one thing. But it's one of those things where these companies are just hoarding up the content, and if you want to watch all the entertainment that you really want to dive into, you have to get Apple TV and Paramount Plus and Peacock and Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu and everything else that is literally coming down the pike. And I just cannot get every single streaming service, man. As much as I love certain miniseries and movies I want to watch, certain actors, it's just like with cable. There's a lot of times that I loved certain things that was on Stars or on Showtime, and I didn't get it because I just didn't want to pay the money for those just for one thing. This is where the slippery slope of streaming comes in, but as long as we get the physical media copies, then it'll be worth it. We just have to wait a little while to get there. But if they don't release it on physical, then we're heading into even more slippery slopes. We'll see where we head off to next. You never quite know, guys. But it does look good, though. And I love a good courtroom drama. And Defending Jacob Just might be the next best one to check out. So I'm looking over in the front area here, right? And I'm seeing only one thing. I'm thinking to myself, God, please do not let that be the only thing that you have this week, Target. You have been better than that. Come on now. And when you look around, you could definitely find some very interesting things like, hey, some of the new 4Ks. Thank God for Target. Scott Pilgrim versus the world. Yes. I'm so glad that Target has this week, man. And I actually really love this cover art. That is awesome with the different colors, and it definitely represents the film. You know, there's certain cover art that you're like, wow, this is way off base to what the movie actually is. And this one, I think, does a good job at representing the movie. I really do. And some 4K upgrade love. Not bad, man. Now, I saw Scott Pilgrim versus the World in the movie theaters, and I had never heard of any of the Canadian novels, the graphic novels. I had never heard of any of that stuff, so Scott Pilgrim was very new to me. And when I watched it the first time, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I really hated the movie. I'm serious. Like, I left the movie theater and I'm like, this movie is garbage. This movie is terrible. I said, I don't know why anybody is liking this movie. Why? This movie's god-awful, man. It just, I don't know, it didn't really click with me the way it clicked with a lot of other people. And I watched it like 2 or 3 times since. And I have to admit, every single time that I have watched it since that initial theatrical experience, I've liked it more and more. And I can't say that for a lot of movies out there. There's certain movies that, when I get my initial opinion, that is the opinion that I pretty much stick with. But there is certain movies out there that, upon rewatching them, they get better every single time. And maybe I was too harsh when I had went into the movie theater. Maybe I just wasn't really digging the type of style that this movie had. I don't really know at the time. But every other time that I've watched it, it really has connected with me more and more and more. And I think the reason behind that is the fact that I've ended up diving into a little bit more of Scott Pilgrim knowledge and learning a little bit more about the graphic novels. And this definitely does take a lot of great influence from that, and really is a really great companion piece to those graphic novels. But also, I used to, back in the day, be a gamer. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, that type of stuff. And I'm no longer really a gamer now. It was more back when I was a kid, but the more that I watched this movie, and the more that I sort of dug the sort of video game style that the movie was trying to do, and sort of the nostalgic ideas of old school video games and cartoons, and that sort of old school style that you used to see in video games, but yet sort of take it up a notch in modern times. I really love that. It almost feels like you're watching a video game come to life. And I think the first time I watched it, I wasn't expecting those things, and it sort of took me off guard. I was expecting something totally different, and it changed my expectations. But once I'm able to sort of sit down and really understand the movie better than when I went in with certain expectations, I was able to enjoy it. And Scott Pilgrim is one of those ones that I really do enjoy now a hell of a lot more. I love the idea of facing these like evil people at every single level. You know, people that was the X's, and people that are better than you in every single way, but yet, in order to prove yourself, you have to beat the bosses. I love that. It just reminds me of like video game stuff like Super Mario or Knockout or stuff like that, where you have to, at every single level, beat another person to get to the final boss. And it's just so cool, man. It really is. it's very much old school video game nostalgia. It's very much punk rock. And at the time, you know, you have to remember that I wasn't as big of a fan of Edgar Wright either at that point. I really wasn't. I mean, I had liked Shaun of the Dead, but a lot of his other films I wasn't really digging, so I had brought that kind of baggage into the film as well. And so I brought baggage, and I usually don't like to do that, but I did with Scott Pilgrim, and that initial theatrical experience, man, I loathe this film, but it's now one of those really great movie experiences where the more I watch it, the more I understand it, and the more I understand it, the more I'm digging the style that they were trying to accomplish. I can't say that the movie's perfect. It has its problems, but it's bright, it's colorful, it's in your face. I love the acting here. The acting it's cheesy, it's ridiculous, it's over the top, it's sarcastic, and yet it's completely fun and entertaining, and you can tell that the actors and the director know what they're doing. They know what movie they're in. They're not trying to overdo it. They're not trying to be serious on this shit. They know what movie they are in, and they're having a ball playing it, man. It's a great love story, nostalgic video game style tale that, you know, when this movie came out, it didn't do gangbusters at the box office. I think a lot of people were confused by the movie, confused by the premise. It was something that not a lot of people had really experienced before. And I think this movie has gotten a lot of love since then. People like me and a lot of other people finally see the movie for what it is and see that the movie was actually kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. But I think a lot of people have finally caught up to this movie, and boy, is it way better than I think me and a hell of a lot of people definitely gave it credit for, man. It is pretty cool. It really is, man. And I regret my initial hatred of the movie, but I've come around to loving it a hell of a lot more. Oh, and speaking of nostalgia, Space Jam, baby. The 4K Blu-ray digital. Oh, nice. Oh my god, man, this brings back a lot of memories. Ooh, man, I was the right age when this came out. I really was, man. I saw this in the movie theater. This was one of those ones where, you know, the parents are forced to take you because you really want to go. You've seen the commercials and all the toys and it's like, I want to go. Yeah, I was doing that with Space Jam, and I think a lot of kids were doing that, to be fair, man. I used to be an old school fan of Looney Tunes. I really did. You know, I grew up with the old school cartoons and, you know, all those different characters and the quirky personas, and I loved it. And when they were making a Looney Tunes live action movie, I was like, whoa, like a movie? Now, mind you, I'm not a sports fan. Okay, I'm not a sports guy. Yes, I knew who Michael Jordan was because it was pop culture at that point. Michael Jordan had pretty much penetrated pop culture, had pretty much penetrated the world as far as celebrity sports figures were concerned. So, of course, I knew who he was, but when I went to the movie, do you think I really cared about my Michael Jordan? No, I cared about Bugs Bunny, I cared about Daffy Duck, I cared about Porky Pig, you know, Sylvester Babs. I cared about all of those. Not really cared too much about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was just an extra thing in the movie at that point, to be honest with you. But I really do enjoy Space Jam. I mean, yes, it's been a long time since I've seen Space Jam, and I mean a long time since I've seen it. God, it has to have been at least, I was gonna say maybe upwards of like 20 years, if not more, since I've seen Space Jam. But I remember it almost like it was yesterday, man, because it's part of that nostalgic childhood feeling that I had watching the movie, and the hijinks with the Looney Tunes, and, you know, sort of this fish out of water story with Jordan, and how, you know, he has to play this game, you know, to obviously save the tunes. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, somebody who's not a basketball fan, who's not a sports lover, I think they fit in the tie-ins with Jordan and the basketball stuff pretty well. Because, yes, you still get Michael Jordan doing his basketball thing, but you also get the Looney Tunes doing, you know, cool, like, stuff and the hoops as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. It was good for kids. It was good for fans of Jordan. It was a nice mix, man. And also, Bill Murray has one of the best cameos in Space Jam. He is awesome here. In fact, what am I talking about? Like, Bill Murray is like the king of cameos. Like this and Zombieland are awesome. When he does a cameo, the man does a cameo, and he does it really well here. I like the crazy hijinks. I like the animation. I like the comedy. I think it works, and I like the basketball stuff. It was good for its time. Has it aged well? Maybe not particularly. It's aged exactly the best. But I still think it's really fun and entertaining. And kids would love this. I mean, even if they don't know who the hell Michael Jordan is, they know Bugs. They know all these others. So I think it would still carry weight with a lot of kids today. But I guess it all depends on whether they like the Looney Tunes or not. But why wouldn't kids like Looney Tunes nowadays? I mean, they're timeless. Why wouldn't they? And before I go, they do still have one copy of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm actually really glad this is selling, guys, because the 4K is amazing. And anybody who is a lover of Willy Wonka has to get the 4K, man. They really honestly do. But I had an interesting comment from one of my subscribers about Willy Wonka, or at least an interesting sequel idea that no one's really ever explored before. So, you know, we've gotten reboots and remakes of Willy Wonka. Hell, they're even doing a prequel. Why? Why do we need a prequel for Willy Wonka? Well, we actually don't, but that doesn't matter. We're getting it anyways, guys. But they had an interesting thought of why haven't they ever done a sequel about Charlie? I mean, at the end of this movie, obviously Willy Wonka gives the factory to Charlie. But wouldn't it have been a very interesting idea for a sequel for a grown-up Charlie that has run the factory for such a long time and now trying to find his replacement and the adventures that go with that? That would have been really cool, and they never explored that, and I don't know why, because it would have been a very interesting idea of growing up in this factory around the Oompa Loompas, the idea that you're a child, but yet you're running a business, and how does that even work exactly, and also, what kind of person do you become? Do you become a normal adult, or do you go a little bit more insane and weird and crazy like Wonka himself? And how do you go exactly about finding your replacement? Because the new generations of kids aren't exactly the same way that you are. So what kind of people are you actually going to find? Who is actually going to inherit the factory? There was such a really great, interesting idea behind that, and they never did. They've always seemed to focus on Wonka himself, and I think the movie was much more than Wonka. Wonka was just the larger-than-life star that was part of this movie, and the one that basically everybody put their focus on, but there's so much more to it than just Wonka himself. But I feel like Hollywood never really got the memo on that. They never really did. They were always like, oh, it was just all about Willy Wonka himself, and there was so much more to it. But unfortunately, when they focus on Wonka himself, you get movies like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that basically, I hate to say it, but Johnny Depp comes off as a weird pederast. But that's the problem, man. I mean, how far do you take the Wonka persona? How far do you not? How far do you hold back? I honestly think that, I mean, Gene Wilder knew exactly where to go with the character. And I would love to see another film that really explores the future of the factory and Charlie and his psyche and the adventures of finding somebody to take over the factory after him. It's such an interesting idea. I just don't know why they never mined that idea. It's so good, but they just never really took advantage of it. They just want to focus on Wonka, and I don't think that's exactly the right way to go with it. But, you know Hollywood, money talks, bullshit walks, and unfortunately, as long as they're around, they're just going to continue to exploit Wonka himself. But what would you rather see, a sequel or a prequel? I'd go with the sequel, guys. I'm just serious. I would go with the sequel idea. I just don't understand the idea of a prequel. A lot of the prequels out there, I just don't really see a need for. And a Wonka prequel at that? What's the point? There is no point to it. There really isn't. It's just basically for money purposes, is basically what it is. And that's it. Which is a real shame, because it's not really about the creativity, it's actually about just making more money and exploiting the franchise. It used to be about creativity. Yeah, those days are long gone, guys. They honestly are, man. I mean, I would love to explore a sequel idea, because they've made some good sequels before. I mean, look at Dr. Sleep. Who would have ever thought many, many decades later you'd actually make a good Shining sequel? Nobody thought that, and that movie surprised the hell out of people. I'd love to see a Wonka sequel with Charlie and the factory and the Oompa Loompas, and just the idea of a modern day factory and how Charlie has coped with that and the adventures of it. I would love to see that. I think it'd be kind of cool, but unfortunately we're getting a prequel about Wonka that nobody asked for. Great. Beats the hell out of me, guys. You want to know what? As far as Willy Wonka is concerned, I'm sticking with this movie. Johnny Depp and his pederast persona, yeah, that can take a hike. And as far as the prequel is concerned, I have no interest in it whatsoever. This will forever be my Wonka. You know what I'm saying, guys? I think you do. Indeed you do, guys. Well, at least there is some 4K love this week. Not bad. And at least one other new release that was worth diving into. Not bad. And hey, better than Walmart. Alright, let's head out. It wasn't bad here. I mean, it really was not that bad, guys. I mean, it's not a very huge, plentiful physical media release week. I mean, it is for old school nostalgia movies and upgrades, it definitely is. But as far as big, mega, new release love, yeah, not so much, guys. And that means that some stores are going to carry a decent amount, and some stores are going to carry very little. And I didn't quite know where Target was going to fit into the equation here. I mean, they didn't have a lot, but hey, they have more than that versus Walmart, and I'll definitely take it. That's for damn sure, man. And it's always nice to show off older movies getting the upgrade attention, because sometimes forgotten movies definitely need a little bit of extra attention every now and again to remind people that, hey, those movies do exist, and yes, they do deserve another edition, just like any other new release love out there. And I'm glad to see a little Scott Pilgrim love and Space Jam love. Movies that definitely need to be revisited. That is for damn sure, guys. So, all things considered, not a crazy big physical media release week, but I think Target, at least a little bit, handled their business. Just a little bit. And a little bit goes a long way, guys. You know that. Alright, not bad. Let's head to the next location for more physical media love. Alright, everybody, we are at our third location, the second Walmart. I'm going to go in and check out if there's any interesting indie titles worth showing off. If there is, I'll bring it back to Film Fan 108 HQ and show it off to each and every one of you. But before I do that, I got to talk about a movie trailer with you guys, and the turkey baster is back. Actually, let's hope not, because that was deeply disturbing. Don't Breathe 2, man, is coming to your eyeballs very soon, baby. Now, I saw the first Don't Breathe movie in the theaters, and it was a very interesting experience. I like the movie. I really do. I thought Stephen Lang was amazing in the film, extremely, extremely effective, extremely creepy, and I like the idea of these people entering into this home thinking it's going to be just this everyday robbery, grabbing a few things, getting out the door, and realizing that it is so much more than they could have ever anticipated. And man, what a wild ride that movie was, dude. And it took the concept of turkey basters to a whole new level, man. The only thing I didn't like about that movie was the ending. I kind of thought the ending was a little bullshit, but outside of that, the rest of the movie I really enjoy. I saw the idea of sequel possibilities when obviously he's gonna go after the chick that ended up surviving, and I understood that. And I was like, okay, there's possibly maybe a sequel, a kernel of an idea here. And when I look at the trailer for Don't Breathe 2, where is that exactly? Because the ideas that they posed at the end of the first movie, from what I'm seeing in this movie, is not there. Or at least I just don't see it. I mean, put it that way, man. I just don't see that idea or that concept whatsoever. And it's kind of interesting because basically it's the same type of idea here. There's a home invasion, and there is this idea of these people going into this home and stealing from this man. However, there seems to be a little bit more to it at this point. There seems to be maybe that they know a little bit more about this guy than what they're really leading and on here. That the fact that they know what this guy's secrets are. But the idea that they kidnap somebody, this little girl that he really cares about, and that basically he is on the hunt to basically kill these guys, take them out, and rescue the girl. That's pretty much what this is about, man. And it's very weird to me. It's very weird seeing this trailer and seeing this guy being the good guy here. Because I don't know how I really feel about that. I mean, from the first movie, this guy kidnapped this woman, held her in his basement, impregnated her with a turkey baster. I mean, this guy, I don't know, man. Like, we're suddenly supposed to forget everything that saw happen in Don't Breathe and just go to, hey, this guy is a good guy and he found Jesus or something. I mean, what? I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's gonna be more than what the trailer is telling me. At least I'm hoping it is, but we're supposed to buy this blind dude as the good guy now? I don't know about that, man. I have some sneaky suspicions on that one. But outside of that really uneasy feeling of this guy being a good person now is the fact that I like the idea of all of the tricks of the trade of being blind. I like certain moments of him being in the dark and stalking the people, or that scene where he's in the water and he's laying down and they step into this pool of water and you can sort of see the ripples and he can feel the ripples and he knows exactly where they are. Like, that stuff is really cool and really effective and really awesome, man. I like that stuff a lot. So there is going to be cool little tricks of the trade here where, you're in his world and he's going to take advantage of that. I like that idea behind it. It could be good. I was hoping more for this sort of interesting revenge film of this guy going up against this girl and this sort of kill or be killed survival tale. I mean, I think we're getting that, but I thought it was going to be something completely different in a sequel. So I'm not sure where they're going here. I'm not sure what the goal is of this film. Is it to make him a good guy? Is it more than what I'm anticipating? Do these people know more about him and who he is? They seem to know more about him than they're leading on, but I just don't know exactly. I love Stephen Lang, and I think Stephen Lang was awesome in Don't Breathe, and it looks like he's going to be awesome here. He brings it. It's Stephen Lang. He's awesome. I mean, come on. I just don't know about the rest of the film. I think it's going to be cool with the kills and with the trickery of being blind. I like the ideas behind it, but is it going to be as effective as that first film? And if it doesn't have that turkey baster, I'm going to be sadly disappointed. Okay, no, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm going to be absolutely thrilled. Okay, no turkey baster. I can actually rest easy. It means I can actually use a turkey baster and actually not feel queasy about doing it. I miss those days. Oh, boy, do I. Oh, man. Let me know what you guys think of Don't Breathe 2. It looks interesting. Maybe not exactly what I was expecting, but I'm willing to go with it and see where the story leads me. I am interested in it. Definitely let me know. In the meantime, let's head into the second Walmart and hopefully more physical media love to check out. Ah, yes. I am in at good old second Walmart, baby. And it has been a little light for physical media this week. Right? I mean, it has not a crazy amount of new release love this week. A lot of 4K upgrades more than anything else. So here I am at the second Walmart saying to myself, well, we're probably not going to get a lot. Okay, maybe 2, 3. Oh, I am so wrong, guys. I am dead serious, man. I came in here thinking we were going to get a little, and we have got a lot. Way more than I ever thought we were going to get. I mean, a slow physical media release with not much new release love ends up producing a lot of indie release love? Well, apparently so, and I'm willing to take it, baby. We got a lot of weird, crazy, ridiculous titles to show off, and a lot of plentiful indie love at this second Walmart. Who the hell would have thought we would have gotten that here, especially on a slower release week? But again, you never know what you're going to get until you enter into the stores, and this time around, oh, that definitely proves that. So you know what that means, guys. We are heading back to Film Fan 108 HQ, and you know what that means for you, Seth. You got to show off that physical media love. Come on. This is too good to pass up. All right. Yeah. Come on. Let's get our physical media on, baby. Really? Like, I don't have to motivate you or berate you or threaten you? No, absolutely not, man. I'm actually really game for it, dude. I'm hyped. Yeah, let's do this. Why wait? Gee, I don't know what to do with myself now. My whole existence of living was to basically berate you and threaten you. What am I supposed to do now? Oh, you'll land on your feet. Maybe. Oh, he will, guys. He's just gonna have to take a little bit of time. Try to reevaluate his life choices. And stop hating on me. I mean, come on. We're both physical media lovers. Why would we hate on one another? Besides, if I ever saw him in person, he'd get the hammer. Oh, he would definitely get the hammer indeed. He'd get the physical media hammer. Don't fuck with me. But the real question, guys, is why would anyone fuck with physical media? Why would they, man? Because physical media is awesome? Hello? Because physical media is great? It's amazing? Why would anybody want to fuck with physical media? Nobody would. And that's why we still get physical media love at the stores, like at the second Walmart, guys. I mean, truth be told, this week is not exactly the most plentiful physical media week of all time. However, it's a unique one because we're seeing a lot more 4K upgrade love than we are actually seeing new release titles out in the stores. And we haven't seen a lot. We've seen a little bit here, a little bit there. So I thought, oh, well, the second Walmart, I'm entering into basically nothingness because there's not much to really show off at most of these stores. A little bit here and a little bit over there, but not exactly crazy plentiful. And then a surprise happens. You know, even though you think you're not going to see much, then you get this mega surprise of, holy shit, a lot of physical media love at the second Walmart of weird indie titles. They just somehow pop out of nowhere. Like weird indie releases where you're like, Jesus Christ, this? But I gotta admit, that's why I love the second Walmart Love and Surprises, because it's these type of surprises where you're never gonna see this stuff at Best Buy. You're never gonna see it at Target. These are titles that are weird and bizarre and only have a place on Walmart shelves. It really does, man. And yet, even though they're so weird and odd, you have to appreciate the fact that they get physical media releases, the fact that they're on a store shelf for somebody to maybe pick up if they so choose to. It's always about the weird synopsis, the cool artwork. You know, indie titles are way more interesting than sometimes you might think they are. And we've went down some rabbit holes with some weird indie stuff from Walmart before. And this time around, oh, we're about to do it again. Ah, yes, all that Walmart indie goodness. You gotta love it, guys. I mean, come on. Where can you find these titles anywhere else but the second Walmart, baby? So good. Have to dive in. So let's get to it, shall we? With the first title, and that is none other than Equal Standard. Okay. It's never as simple as black and white. Yes, never quite as simple, guys. That is for damn sure. New York City police officers' lives collide in interweaving stories of rage, rank, loss, and betrayal. So, I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime. And I kind of knew what the movie was about a little bit. One of the reasons why I wanted to watch it was because of Ice-T. I happen to like Ice-T, not only some of his music, but it's kind of interesting because I sort of grew up around Law and Order and a lot of those type of TV shows that my mom loved and everything. And you know, Ice-T is in some of that stuff, so I kind of got used to him being in those sort of cop drama type of shows. I'm like, okay, this might be one of those interesting movies that he's in. I think the best thing I've ever saw Ice-T in was I think Leprechaun in the Hood. And I'm like, Equal Standard is definitely not Leprechaun in the Hood, man. Oh, but I'm like, whatever, I'll give it a chance. So, yeah, it's basically about white police officers shooting, you know, African Americans and the racial tension of it, and you can kind of know where it goes from there, guys. I mean, the movie's not bad, to be fair. I mean, the acting is good here. I like the story. I like the drama. You know, right versus wrong, and a lot of the gray that sort of comes along with that. The problem is there's a lot of dirty cop movies out there. I mean, Training Day, Street Kings, Dark Blue, and I could go on and on and on. And I mean, I know this is a very timely subject matter right now, the idea of defund the police and the idea of the shootings that have happened and a lot of the corruption that has been going on. And I think the problem with this movie is that I think it just hits you over the head with the message a little bit too much, right? I mean, it pretty much is right in your face. Like, oh, hello, you want to know the message? It's right here, right in your goddamn face. I mean, it literally is. There's no subtlety to the movie whatsoever. There really isn't. And I think that's the problem with the film overall, is that they just hit you over the head with it so much. And I'm like, okay, we get it. I understand it. And I think the more powerful movies out there are not the ones that have to hit you over the head all the time with the message. It's the ones that are a little bit more subtle, the ones that don't have to really hit you over the head constantly with, oh, well, we haven't shown you bad, dirty cops and racial injustice in 5 minutes. Remember? like, we know it exists. We know it does, and there's nothing right about it. There's nothing right about the injustices that happen and innocent people getting killed. There's nothing right about it, okay? It's all wrong. The problem is that I think, at least in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong here, guys, maybe I'm wrong, but, you know, both sides have issues. Both sides have caused problems, and both sides are to blame in a lot of ways. I mean, the problem with the cops, essentially, is that, you know, there's a lot of good cops out there. There really, truly is. But unfortunately, in this world, there's a lot of bad apples. And those bad apples ruin it for everybody else. And on the flip side of that, you know, you've had a lot of people that have taken the stereotypes and run with it. And unfortunately have given a lot of good and decent human beings and citizens out there, they've given everybody a bad name. And I think there is no right or wrong answer here to how to solve this problem. And I think with movies are a great way to, they're a great way to sort of highlight the issues and struggles that groups are having and the dilemmas of the times. And there's been a lot of really great movies that have really impacted the times that we live in, and really put a nice cap onto what's going on in society. Equal Standard tries to be this big, bold statement of a movie, and I kind of feel like they just hit you over the head way too many times. And I think there's better movies that spell it out a lot better and don't have to literally get in your face with the message. It's not a bad movie. There's things to like in it, but at the end of the day, if you've seen a lot of dirty cop movies, if you've seen a lot of these cop dramas, this one doesn't exactly break the mold, but it isn't exactly terrible. It's mid-range, and as many good cop dramas out there, there's a lot of mid-range, just okay movies like Equal Standard that honestly don't do it half as good as some of the classics. I mean, come on. Can you really beat Denzel Washington in Training Day? As far as Ice-T is concerned, you better get back to the next Leprechaun movie. You're about to. And the next one, ooh, Locked In, with Mena Suvari and Jeff Fahey. I like that. Mena Suvari looks like she's trapped in a terrible circumstance, and Jeff Fahey is one badass mofo with a gun. Gotta love it, baby. You got to, man. Nice. When your family is threatened, protect the ones you love. Nice. Mena Suvari and Jeff Fahey star in this heart-stopping action thriller that keeps you guessing until the very end. After a diamond heist takes a fatal turn, a pair of thieves must entrust their fortune with an accomplice of a high-tech storage facility while they lay low. Hiding the goods within the labyrinth of storage units, the thieves' inside man pays the ultimate price when he goes against them. Oh, really? Now hellbent on recovering the missing stones, they seize the facility and kidnap surviving employee Maggie, Mena, threatening her family unless she helps them. Locked in with nowhere to run, Meg's the only chance to escape alive is to fight back and stay one step ahead of the captors in a deadly game of cat and mouse. You like that. Very nice. I like a good, like, heist thriller. Yes, man. I do love that, baby. I do indeed, man. And God, Mena Suvari. Man, I haven't seen Mena Suvari in something in a long while, man. Remember when Mena Suvari used to be like that it girl? Like, she was doing all of those movies, man. I mean, she was big in American Pie, and then you had seen her in American Beauty and a whole bunch of other stuff, and she eventually faded away. It's kind of interesting if you look at the late 90s, early 2000s of chicks like Mina Suvari or Lily Sobieski and a lot of those actresses that were big at the time and then kind of just faded out of existence. Kind of weird like that, but I hadn't seen her in something in a while. Nice to see her. And Jeff Fahey, oh my God, do I love Jeff Fahey. I really do, man. I mean, yes, I loved him in Lost, but I'm hoping he plays one of the bad guys here, and I kind of think he does, which is cool. The last time I really saw him in a really gritty bad guy role, he was the bad guy in Darkman 3. Yeah. Die, Darkman, Die. Yes. He was good in that. I liked him in that, man. I mean, I've liked him in, like, the Grindhouse movie. I thought that was really good. Oh, my God, man. I've loved him in a lot of stuff. He's great. Jeff Fahey is awesome, man. Oh, Lord, I really love him a lot. He's so good here, man. So if Jeff Fahey's playing the bad guy and Mina Suvari has to survive against Jeff Fahey, oh, man, good luck, honey. You're definitely gonna need it. Oh, man. That's cool. That is really cool, man. I mean, like I said, a good heist thriller is something I really love. You know, one of the ones that I liked in the past few years was Hurricane Heist. Hurricane Heist was really cool, man. So, I'm not saying it's as fun or as quirky as Hurricane Heist. It's probably much more dramatic than that movie, but you got, hopefully, Jeff Fahey chewing the scenery, Mina Suvari being the survivor it girl there. I don't know, man. I would dig it. I mean, Mina Suvari versus Jeff Fahey. The chick who slept with Chris Klein in American Pie versus the villain from Die, Darkman, Die. Oh, I wonder who's gonna win. And prepare to be scared, because you're entering into Scarecrow County. Indeed you are. He will reap what you sow. Oh, he will definitely do that. I like that. Oh, with the body right there and the crows. Oh, nice. He's taking his revenge one body at a time. Oh, nice. Oh, what is this? Oh, that doesn't exactly look the most impressive. Ugh, a cheapo. Winnie, a small-town librarian, is gifted a box filled with old books. Among them is the journal of Joey Gibbs, a bully teenager who killed himself years ago. As she begins to read through Joey's writings, members of the community start to die. When Winnie realizes the suspicious deaths are connected to the journal, it's up to her to uncover the truth behind Joey's death and who or what is chopping away at the town's population. Oh, baby, yes, she's got to figure out the mystery of the killer scarecrow. Oh, man, oh, man. Oh, dude, this looks cheap. This looks impossibly cheap. I mean, look at that. I don't know. That does not look impressive to me whatsoever. I do like some good killer scarecrow movies. I really do, man. There is some really great ones out there. Like, for instance, Scarecrows. Amazing movie, by the way. I love Scarecrows, man. This is a great, effective movie, man. I love the look of the Scarecrows. But not only that, I love the idea that, you know, these people end up, trying to hide out, and they're just evil people. They deserve to die anyways. But the fact that they come across these evil possessed scarecrows, and the fact that they got to survive against them, I just love this movie, man. I love the kills. I love the look of the scarecrows themselves. I think this is a pretty good flick, man. As far as Killer Scarecrows movie is concerned, that's a top one. And another one that is really great as well is Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. I love this movie as well, man. This is great. The idea that these people are against this one guy who is not quite there in the head, and he ends up dying, and this scarecrow is sort of coming to life and exacting revenge against the people who killed this dude. It's really good, man. very, very underrated, but so amazing. I really love that one quite a bit. I do, man. So, by all means, there is some good killer scarecrow movies out there. There really is. Now, is Scarecrow County one of the good ones, or is it in a long line of really terrible scarecrow movies? I'm picking the latter, guys. I really am, man. Oh, look at that. That just looks impossibly cheap. Oh, God. That looks so terrible. Oh, my God, man. You know, it's hard to do a good killer scarecrow movie. It really is, man, because the design has to be just right, and the story has to be, you know, just good enough where it's not too stupid. There's scary elements. Honestly, if we're really talking about the killer scarecrow genre, there's not many really impressive ones out there. I mean, the last really great killer scarecrow that I saw was probably that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think that movie, it had a really great scarecrow in it, man. It really did, and a really effective scarecrow tale. And I'm like, wow, they did it well. But honestly, more often than not, you get Scarecrow County, which is just really scary just by actually looking how terrible it is, not actually by the movie itself. The scarecrow subgenre of horror, not exactly the most effective, and really there's only a few really good ones out there. Most of them end up being Scarecrow County, which probably this scarecrow honestly would get bitch slapped by any of the scarecrows from Scarecrows or even Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. Man, hell, I'd probably bitch slap the goddamn scarecrow. Yeah. This county, if this scarecrow is the most killer effective thing in the county, they got some problems. And don't look in her eyes, because you could become the next victim of Medusa. Yes, you could, baby. Medusa Beauty is the beast. I like that cover, man. I really do, with the killer snakes and the evil temptress. I like that cover a lot, man. Then again, we've been fooled by really great covers and really terrible movies, so beware the beauty, baby. Beware indeed. Oh, yeah, definitely beware. I mean, she's good looking, but something's wrong with your skin, honey. You might want to try a little makeup. It may just help you. Ooh. After being bitten by a lethal snake, a young woman experiences changes in her senses and appearance as she sheds her old self and slowly turns into a deadly weapon. No, really? It looks kind of interesting. I like the changes with her eyes and shit, but then they have to go and put weird CGI snakes in the back of her head. Like, why? Why? You were doing so good, and then you have to do the crappy CGI shit. It was bound to happen with this movie. Of course. I mean, look, the only time I've really liked Medusa is Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans was amazing. She was awesome. That character was awesome in those movies, man. It was cool. And then they have to go make movies like Medusa, which totally is a buzzkill. Oh, man. I mean, I like a good killer snake movie. Okay, I really do. You look at something like Anaconda, wickedly cool. I love that type of stuff, man. I mean, there's other like cool little killer snake movies out there. I mean, yes, that one is definitely great. I mean, Anaconda is amazing, but there's also actually another one as well, a really, really great one, and that is Spasms. Spasms is really cool, man. Peter Fonda, Oliver Reed. Oh, yeah. Man, just one bite from that fucker turns you into that. Yeah. I don't think any antiseptic is gonna actually cover that up. Sorry, bro. Ooh, I do like killer snake movies. Spasms is a really good underrated one. Not bad at all. Not bad one bit, man. I mean, there is a few good ones out there, and then there's a lot of really bad ones. I mean, how many terrible Anaconda movies is there? There's quite a few, man. I mean, I like the concept of being bitten and then sort of turning, almost like you're turning into a werewolf or a vampire or something, but instead of that, you're turning into like this snake goddess or something. It's very interesting, very fascinating, and under any other like big budget Hollywood spectacular standards, I'd probably really like it. It probably would be really cool. But then you probably get something like Medusa, which has a low budget and really shitty special effects and turns into God knows how awful it's gonna be, man. I mean, it's got an interesting idea, an interesting premise, and it could be cool under the right circumstances and under the right budget and filmmaker, but this is a B-movie film, guys. If you're thinking this is gonna be perfection, you're sadly kidding yourselves, guys. I mean, if that ain't proof of it, shit, I don't know what is. I mean, it could be good, all things considered. A cheesy killer, snake woman has an interesting idea to it. Could they pull it off? Just like Medusa, if you look at this movie long enough, yeah, it could kill you. And you thought that was it with the Walmart Gold? Oh, no. You guys are incredibly wrong, man. They got more to check out, baby. Some more weirdness to give a look to. Oh, I definitely am dying to dive in. Let's do it already, because I am heavily anticipating it, baby. I always do. All the Walmart weirdness, how can you not, baby? Let's dive more in, with the next one being 13 Secrets. Welcome to the City of Death. Oh, I like that cover, man. Yes. All the hands and the deadly skull. Oh, God, I like that, man. 13 Secrets. Another one of those really great covers that could turn into a really shitty movie. Let's dive in, baby. Pia is a young woman with a sixth sense. Okay. Her and Haley Joel has something in common, huh? Her ability to see ghosts leads her to become the key to unlocking the 13 haunted secrets within the city. Wanting to know more about her unique gifts, Pia joins the crew of a paranormal TV show. By doing so, she gets closer to the dark forces around her, realizing the secrets of 13 locations may be connected to her somehow. Oh, so in order for her to find her path, she screws over a whole paranormal TV crew in order to do it. Fantastic. But then again, the paranormal TV crew kind of knows what they're getting themselves into. I mean, you're looking for paranormal shit. Eventually, it's going to hit you right smack dab in the face. And when it does, man, your ass is grass, brother. Oh, damn. And I don't think this chick is really going to be any help to you. I don't think so. Oh, very interesting, man. You know, I like the idea of paranormal TV shows, man. I've seen a few of them. I really have. And I find the paranormal TV shows kind of funny because I actually do believe in the paranormal. I do believe that there is ghosts, that there is entities out there, things that are unexplained. I do believe in it, man. But these paranormal TV shows, boy, these are some shady motherfuckers, man. I mean, seriously, they try to be like, well, I think we saw a weird thermal image, or we hear something that could be a ghost, but then again, it could be a cat. But we're not sure, but it could be paranormal. I love it, man. Oh, man, some of those people can be real shysters. They really can, man. But I've always loved that idea behind it, and I just love the idea that these people are going to be screwed in order for this chick to find her, like, true secret and unique gifts. I love it, man. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. It could be cool. It could be one of those sort of haunted house movies mixed with sort of this chick with these unique abilities to fight them off. Kind of. Like, maybe she's like the survivor girl in this, where, you know, obviously there's going to be... See, the thing about it is the paranormal TV crew are all red shirts. Let's be real, they're all red shirts, they're all going to die, they're basically just fodder for the ghost in order for this chick to find her true path. And when she does, she's going to defeat the evil ghostly entities, right? And save the day. Could be maybe predictable, maybe kind of, sort of, probably. Not gonna lie, it could have some really cool little interesting haunted scares, some creepy atmosphere. It could, but more often than not, it's probably another one of those paranormal duds. And honestly, there is a lot of them outside of, you know, Paranormal Activity and, you know, something like Poltergeist and a lot of those other movies. There's a lot of lackluster paranormal films out there. I mean, hell, some of the sequels to Paranormal Activity pretty much prove that, guys. It's hard to make a good paranormal style movie. It really is. It's not that easy. Some people think it is, but boy, it's much harder than you might expect, man. Some are able to pull it off, others not. 13 Secrets? Well, more like 13 Ways to Avoid the Movie. Perhaps a new tale on an old classic. Ooh, possibly. With another Shudder original, A Nightmare Wakes. Unleash the monster from within. Oh, not terrible cover. Not exactly the most exciting cover of all time. Crying black tears. Oh, okay. Wonder what the hell this is about. The Birth of Frankenstein comes alive. Another Frankenstein tale? Okay. Let's dive in, shall we? Based on the timeless novel and the birth of one of cinema's most iconic monsters, while composing her famous novel Frankenstein, Mary Shelley descends into an opium-fueled fever dream and carries a torrid love affair at a remote lake house. As she writes, the characters of her novel come to life and begin to plague her relationship, forcing everyone, including herself, to question her sanity. Frankenstein. Man, I have quite the love affair with Frankenstein. Now, why? Why would I... Not saying that Frankenstein is actually my favorite among all movie monsters, but he's definitely up there. And the reason being is because of my mother. I'm dead serious, guys. Frankenstein is my mother's favorite movie monster of all time. And I remember when I was a little kid, she would go around the house and she would pretend to be like Frankenstein, and she would be like, he would like put her hands out and pretend to get me. Yeah, it's called Frankenstein, but she calls him Frankie. She loves Frankenstein, man. Honestly, the original Frankenstein is one of her favorite films of all time. Bride of Frankenstein. I mean, she loves the character so much. So I grew up loving Frankenstein because of my mother and all the different iterations that I've seen over the years. And there is a lot of iterations of Frankenstein. Whether we're talking about the Robert De Niro version, Victor Frankenstein with Daniel Radcliffe, which was just okay. You have Van Helsing. The Monster Squad did a version of Frankenstein as well. I mean, they've done a lot of different versions. Hell, they've even done Frankenstein in, oh yes, Frankie and his pals. Oh no. Oh, there can only be one Frankie and his pals. And let's hope we never get another one, man. It is too good to ever be replicated yet again, man. Oh my god. Talk about a weird, sex-fueled, cheesy oddity, this one, man. I mean, Frankenstein has had quite a lot of iterations, and this may be one of the weirdest. Oh, it definitely is. Man, damn, is that weird. There has been a lot of very interesting Frankenstein tales over the years. There really has. And some have worked really well, and others, well, not so much, guys. I like the idea of really taking it into the idea of Mary Shelley herself and the fact that she's writing it and she's descending into madness. And honestly, you know, is she going crazy? Is things really happening around her? I kind of like that take about it. It's an interesting idea to go with, and I think it could work depending on how they approach it. As far as Shudder is concerned, look, I've said it many, many times, and I'll say it again. Shudder is half and half for me. At some points, I actually really like Shudder, and I think Shudder does some amazing stuff, like the Mortuary Collection. Amazing. And then they do movies where, man, they should have just stopped while they were ahead, man. I mean, some of those movies come across really terrible, and they're just trying to ape off of better movies. I mean, technically with horror nowadays, a lot of movies are just aping off of better films at this point. I mean, there's not a hell of a lot of originality anymore, and when it comes to Frankenstein, man, pretty much everything has been done to one extent or another. It's hard to make anything really original when something like that has been around for decades and generations. It's really hard to do that, man. But I love Frankenstein, and I love a good Frankenstein tale. And I mean, anything with Frankenstein piques my interest just because I have such a love affair with the character going back to when I was a kid. So I'm not quite sure about this one. I'm always a little hesitant on Shudder, but it's Frankenstein, and it has the potential to be good. Potential. Does it ever reach that potential? Well, maybe not. Could it be one of the better ones, or could it be one of the worst ones? However, let's be real, it'll never be really all that weird because, well, Frankie and his pals, well, it takes that award, and it definitely runs away with it. Both and all. Beware of the claw. Oh, it could get ya. The hunt is on, and you're the prey. I like that cover, baby. I do. I really do. Oh, God, it's gonna get me. It reminds me of that scene in Alien 3 when like Ripley was turned in a way, and the alien was like, it was right in front of her. God, it so reminds me of that, man. I do like that cover a lot, man. That is a great cover. And it looks like we got some killer dino action, possibly? Huh. Oh, we definitely do. Look at that. After blowing a tire in the middle of the desert, best friends Kyle and Julie are forced to spend the night in a remote ghost town while they reluctantly settle in for the evening. Ooh, off in the not-so-far-away mountains, trouble brews. A velociraptor brought to life by a disgraced scientist escapes its enclosure and makes its way towards the ghost town, hungry and aggravated. With the prehistoric predator now stalking them throughout the sprawling property and no outside help to speak of, Kyle and Julia must work together to outsmart the deadly creature in order to survive. Wait a second, how did the scientists get the materials to actually make velociraptors? Did he, like, find the shaving cream can from Jurassic Park? Like, what the fuck? Really? What the hell? Oh, my God, man. You know, I love the idea of killer dinosaurs, and I really love velociraptors, man. They are deadly as fuck, man. They really are, man. They are terrifying. I remember when Jurassic Park came out and everybody was like, oh man, the T-Rex is mighty. I'm like, no, I mean, T-Rex is, don't get me wrong, but velociraptors, man, they are, oh man, they're cunning and they're vicious. Wow, they're everything made of nightmares, man. And I do like killer dinosaur movies to a certain extent, man. Some are plain cheesy and ridiculous. Some can definitely be, like, for instance, guys, oh yes, sometimes you get Tammy and the T-Rex. It's killer dinosaur, but in the most ridiculous, cheesy of ways, man. Good God. I do love it, but boy, it's not a movie you technically take seriously, but a cool little killer dinosaur flick, all things considered, man. That it is indeed, man. However, I think Claw's a little bit more in the dramatic, terrifying aspect of it. I think that the more you show off the dinosaurs, I think the less effective it is. You know, the first Jurassic Park made them really cool, and then they kept on using them over and over and over, and then you get things like Jurassic World where, you know, one is literally helping the good guys, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess. It's like, come on. I mean, I still think they can be really badass and really killer and effective, and depending, like, the CGI has to be good, right? And I think that's why Jurassic Park, a lot of those movies work, because the CGI was so phenomenal and amazing, and you felt that they were there, they were real, they were actually hunting and stalking these people, and it just really terrified you. If we get cheesy dinosaur effects, that just kills the whole thing, that really does. But, that being said, yeah, there isn't many really great killer dinosaur movies outside of the Jurassic Park franchise. There really isn't. There may be some here and there, but nothing incredibly noteworthy. At least I don't think so. But Claw could be a little effective little survival tale yarn with a killer dinosaur from a disgraced scientist. You had to break your car down in a empty ghost town. You know what? At that point, I'm walking. I don't care. I'm not staying in a ghost town with a flat tire and a killer dinosaur coming after my ass. You wanna know what? AAA, get to my fucking car, get here fast. I don't care what I have to pay. I will sell my soul to get the fuck out of this town if I can get away from dinosaurs. Trust me, I'm not going to be their next meal. I mean, why would they want me? I'm Jewish. I'm kosher. I'm salty. I'm not good for their cholesterol. When you're desperate for love, you turn to dark magic in a dark spell, baby, until death tears them apart. Ooh, I love the cover to this movie, man. That is one killer cover. That really is. I mean, let's be real. If you were browsing the section at Walmart and you came across this would definitely pique anyone's interest. I just wish the movie was better. From the creators of Mermaid, Lake of the Dead. Let's talk about this one, guys. So I saw this on Amazon Prime, okay? And I was interested in it because I like the idea behind the movie. The fact that this woman who had the person she loves basically leave her and doesn't want to be with her and doesn't want to even be around her anymore. And she uses this dark magic spell to bring him back to her. However, the consequences of that go incredibly wrong and incredibly deadly. And I like that idea behind it because it's been done before, and I've liked certain movies that have done it. Like, for instance, there's one movie that I really love, and that is none other than The Craft, which I really love this movie so goddamn much. The idea of doing something that could be innocent and that you have the best of intentions and those intentions go terribly wrong. I really like that. That the consequences just really screw you over, even though you thought that nothing would go wrong because of it. That you're only doing that because you want love and you want this person in your life. I just really love that, and I think The Craft does it really brilliantly, man. Really, really well. Love that movie, man. And I was hoping that Dark Spell would be a lot like The Craft, or at least a little bit like it. At first, I'm okay with the movie, because when she does the spell, it's very dramatic and dark and twisted, and you realize that she's making a pact that she has good intentions, or at least you think she has good intentions, but you know that nothing good is going to come of this. That obviously something terrible is going to happen because of a result of this, and it does. The idea that the guy becomes so obsessive with her, I mean, to the point of literally death. And I like the fact that it gets deadly, it gets dark, it gets twisted and bizarre, and just one crazy, just terrible incident after another. And I really like that concept and that idea, and sometimes it works in the movie. The problem is that this chick is incredibly stupid, man. I mean, she really is. I mean, she's a good-looking woman, a good-looking lady. She could get any guy that she wants if she really were to try. And this guy that she's trying to get back with is a complete and utter scumbag. This guy's an asshole. I mean, you can't help who you love, but fuck, honey, you could do way better than this dude. But I mean, the problem is that when things get crazy deadly in the movie, when he's trying to kill her, to kill the baby, basically stalk her to the point of killing anyone that gets in his way, she's stunned by it. I can't believe this happened. I mean, why? I don't understand. And I'm like, honey, are you serious? You know you use dark magic. You know you use forbidden stuff. And now you're shocked because it goes haywire? Like, come on, man. I mean, you should have known better. And she kind of does, but she does it anyways. And the idea that there's other magic in the world, and the idea that she tries to employ help to try to get rid of this spell, but it only goes deeper and more twisted than she was imagining. And the idea that this guy, even from beyond the grave, is still trying to come after her and to come after everybody that she loves. And also, there's also these demonic entities that you cast this spell, and they're trying to be unleashed into the world. And there's like so much fucking shit going on in this movie, man. And the problem is that it had an effective idea of obsessive love gone terribly wrong, and it just ends up turning into this weird, you know, sort of magic spell horror flick that has moments of decent effectiveness to it. That there's moments of creepiness and scares, especially when it comes to the baby, and the idea that the baby is on the brink of death like multiple times, and you're just sitting there like, oh my god, what is this dude gonna do to the kid? And there is moments of that, but there's a lot of moments of stupidity and plot holes and convenience and predictability and cheap jump scares. Because, you know, as far as horror movies are concerned, at least to me, I've watched so many horror films that at a certain point, jump scares, sometimes they could be really effective, and other times they could come off really annoying and they can piss me off, where I'm like, come on, you could do so much better than that. And this movie does these really cheap jump scares where you're like, oh, come on, man. I mean, you could have done so much better, and you ended up going the cheap crap route. And just like a lot of horror movies do, man, it's just, when you strip away, a lot of the elements, it just ends up coming off as unfortunately, a limp dick effort that in better hands could have been done really effectively, like The Craft. This movie is nowhere near as good as The Craft, guys. Unfortunately, it's not. It's got some good demonic possession scenes in it. It's got some creepy, effective settings. It's got some moments where, obviously, like, big sprawling action scenes with like magic spells and dark magic and demonic entities coming at you, and it's craziness for craziness sake. A movie that could have been a simple little horrific tale turns into this big sprawling epic dark magic, almost like Harry Potter turned upside down. And it didn't need to be this way. It just overcomplication, stupid characters, bad effects, and just really terrible jump scares. Sometimes simple is effective. Too much is sometimes just honestly too much. And Dark Spell is just really too much. Shame, because with the cover art's amazing. But the movie inside, it needs to have a spell put on it so I could forget this movie ever existed. Shame. Had a lot going for it. I wish I could use dark magic to get rid of this movie. Actually, you know what? We'll forget this movie ever existed, guys. All we ever need is The Craft. That's it. All you ever need is The Craft. This movie is great. All you ever need, a good, effective little dark magic movie, The Craft. Or even a movie like Practical Magic, which is really cool. Or The Witches of Eastwick. Those are really cool. Dark Spell is one of those movies that really, unfortunately, is on the bottom rung of dark magic witch movies. They never learn, do they? That's why I love the old school classics. They just did it better. Can I tell you guys? Disappointment. However, there is no disappointment in the second Walmart Love. There is never any disappointment in that, guys, because come on. When it comes to second Walmart Love, the cheesiness, the weirdness, and the ridiculousness is always on display. And you gotta love it. Dirty Cops. What a new and interesting concept. Mina Suvari versus one of the Darkman villains. And I'm rooting for the Darkman villain. Lame killer scarecrows, women turning into snakes. And I thought PMS was the problem. Dirty little ghoulish secrets, a new take on Frankenstein. Love gone terribly wrong, and killer velociraptors. But wait a minute. I thought they were already killer. Oh no, you haven't seen Until They're Made by Weird Deranged Scientists. Great. And I thought that I had to worry about hitchhikers. I'm never leaving my house again. Oh my god, guys, look at all the second Walmart Love. Look at this. That is really cool, man. You gotta love the second Walmart, man. Look at all this interesting indie weirdness. Come on, guys. You gotta love it. Seriously, man. You have got to love it. That is really awesome, man. And let's be real, any physical media is awesome, guys. I mean, I love physical media. And I love going to these stores, and I love checking out all of the media that I possibly can. Why? I mean, some of these movies are not exactly gems, okay? Some of them are probably hot garbage. But I still want to show them off. Why? Because physical media is incredibly important, guys. It always has been to me. It doesn't matter whether it's the biggest budget movie in the world, the most popular film, or one of the indie titles that is like the most cheapo thing you've ever seen in your life. Because every movie deserves their time in the sun one way or another. I mean, let's be real. In a world of streaming, in a world where a lot of these movies are getting dumped on streaming platforms under a ton of algorithms, where you're barely going to be able to find it, and even if you do, you're one of the lucky ones. And a lot of times they just get buried and forgotten, and maybe they get forgotten on store shelves, maybe they do, but at least they're given a high profile with artwork that you can hold and you can touch, and you can see it in person, and you can actually look at the back with the synopsis with other pictures, and you can get a sense of that movie. There's something about physical media, having a physical copy with the artwork and the descriptions, that there's something unique and genuine about it. And you cannot get that through a streaming site. It's just impossible to do it, guys. You know that. You know it. And so, to me, it's incredibly important to really give it a showcase and give it a love. And even if you're not really interested in most of the titles, maybe there's one that piques your interest, and you give it a chance, and you put it in your collection. And that is worth it, guys. That's worth all the money in the world to me. It truly, honestly is, man. I care about movies. I care about them getting a spotlight, and the true, genuine way to do that is through physical. And sometimes these are the only releases that these movies ever get. And so they deserve as much love as the big studio films, and they deserve at least a chance to be seen and heard and appreciated in even the smallest way. Every physical media, every movie deserves love in one way or another. And if I can do that in just the smallest way possible, then it's worth it, guys. It truly, honestly is. I hope you agree with me. I hope that you agree that physical media is worth it. Because it is. And because it's a format that unfortunately is on the downslide. And there's going to come a time when these type of releases are no longer going to be happening. And we're going to miss these days. And so you got to cherish it at every step of the way. And I definitely do. Oh, at least I try to, guys. I just love it so much. I got to show off all the physical media. It's just my thing. It's how I do. You know how I do it, guys. And I know how you guys do it. Physical media love. It always reigns supreme. It's like a no-brainer, guys. Of course it is. But let's be real. Physical media love is awesome. And when it comes to the second Walmart, let's be real. It supplies. And boy, does it supply some weird and wacky stuff, man. But that's why I always love it. Unique oddities that you almost can't find anywhere else. Come on. It has to be showcased. It has to be shown off. It's too good not to, guys. Too good not to, indeed. And of course, that's not all, guys, because we have one more location to go to. And could we see more great physical media love ahead? It's always possible. But let's find out. All right, everybody. We are at our fourth and final location. And you can't really be an out and about until you head to the Beast. Absolutely, baby. You gotta have some bees love when you're out and about. It is a must. Indeed. And we are at Best Buy. The Beast. Best Buy, baby. And I am curious what Best Buy is going to have this week. We've seen a little bit here, a little bit there. No store that's incredibly, hugely plentiful. But sometimes that's how a physical media week will roll. What will we see over at the Beast? Well, we could see new release love. We could see Steelbook exclusives and maybe a surprise or two. Well, let's hope, guys. But the only way we're going to find out is to head inside. So let's go in and check it out. Alright, everybody, we are in at Best Buy under the new releases, and it's actually kind of bare over here. I mean, it really is. I do see some 4K love that came out this week. I mean, they do have Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the regular 4K, but not the Steelbook. It kind of sucks. I mean, maybe a lot of people pre-ordered it, maybe they didn't get many copies in, but yeah, we're not seeing it this week. Maybe the future week, but not so much this time around. But I did see the Steelbook online, and I kind of like this artwork better than the Steelbook. I mean, maybe in person it'll look good, but I kind of prefer this artwork a little bit better, man. But I mean, still, 4K love is 4K love regardless, man. Now, I gotta talk about Michael Cera for a second. I do. Okay, so Michael Cera's an acquired taste, isn't he? I mean, he is. I can't say that I hate Michael Cera, because I don't hate him, okay? But I'm not exactly in love with the actor. It really depends on the roles that he's done, and some really haven't been as great as I wanted to. I mean, there's some that I've really loved. I love him in Arrested Development. I thought he was really good there. I actually really loved him in Superbad. I thought he was fucking awesome in Superbad, man. He was really good in that. Of course, I really loved him in Juno as well. But then, a lot of other ones I wasn't really a big fan of. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Year One. I thought Year One was actually really shitty. Youth in Revolt, didn't really do much for me. I thought it was supposed to be this laugh-out-loud comedy that really, unfortunately, kind of shit the bed. And there's a lot of other ones like that he's done where his sort of quirky, wimpy style of comedy, and I guess it really is true, because he comes off in most of his movies like a wimp, and he plays the wimpy guy well. I'll give him credit for that. He plays the wimpy guy well, sort of the nerdy, geeky guy, and he does it okay, but that's the only trick that he has in his bag. He has nothing else, guys. I mean, really, he doesn't. I mean, when he does it well, it works well, but for the most part, he ain't got much else. What makes a really great comedic actor? I mean, think about that for a second. What makes a really great, memorable, solid comedic actor? Why was Robin Williams as successful as he was? Why is Jim Carrey still successful to this day? You know, people like Steve Carell and many others. Why? It's because they have more in their bag than just the one note that maybe they started out with, right? They have a little bit more tricks up their sleeve. They're able to do different styles of comedy, and it works really well. And they're not a one-trick pony. And I think, in my estimation, in my thought process, I think I look at Michael Cera and I just say, I just don't see anything else outside of the wimpy, geeky, nerdy guy. I just don't. I mean, like I said, it works for him in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It really does. I think he's cool in it. I think he comes off in moments as badass, which is odd to say for Michael Cera, but honestly, it kind of works for him here. I mean, he comes off as cool, like punk rockish at moments. I mean, I also really like a movie like Nick and Nora's Playlist, but again, it depends on how he's utilized, how the character is written, how he's able to make it work. Some characters are really great, and then I look at other things and I'm like, God, that quirky comedy, that sort of wimpy dude, it's not flying. He really is a one-trick pony. He really honestly is, and it's a shame, but I mean, what else does he got? He doesn't really have much more, and unfortunately, there's not as many movies out there in the world like Scott Pilgrim versus the World or Superbad or Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist that he can rely on. He's going to have to be better as an actor if he wants to continue to be a lasting presence as a comedic actor and a leading man in Hollywood. I've never really seen him as a leading man, but there's certain moments where he's made it work. Can it last forever? Certain actors are able to pull it off. Michael Cera, I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. Maybe you'll disagree. Maybe you will agree. Let me know, man. I mean, you got a lot of special features here. Commentaries, 4 of them. Deleted scenes, bloopers, a bunch of featurettes. I mean, a lot of really great stuff, man. I mean, this movie, to me, when I first watched it, I literally... Man, I hated the shit out of this movie. I thought it was absolute garbage. And I've grown to love it. And I think this movie is one of those films that I think people have found over the years and have embraced. And I'm hoping now with more 4K love, it's able to get a little bit more of a reevaluation. Because I definitely think it deserves it. It's a really solid film and a really solid Edgar Wright film as well. Can't say that Michael Cera works all the time as a leading man, but as Scott Pilgrim, he pulled it off. And some more 4K upgrade love with Space Jam, the 4K Blu-ray digital for $24.99. But no 4K Steelbook love, guys. I know. The problem with my Best Buy is that they get like 2 or 3 copies of the Steelbook in, and between scalpers and pre-orders and everything like that, they don't last long. They really don't, man. I mean, we still may see it in the future. There has been other Steelbooks that I've seen here that have been weeks later, and I'm surprised to see them. So we may see it in the near future, but now, yeah, sorry about that, guys. We're out of luck on that one. But look, we still get a little bit of 4K love with Space Jam, and any Space Jam love is great Space Jam love. I mean, come on, man. Space Jam is awesome. It really is, man. I mean, it's part of my childhood, my nostalgia. I've gotta love it, man. I really do. And I'm actually really surprised to have ever seen the fact that we're getting a Space Jam sequel. Like, that's just wild to me. I never thought that would ever happen in my life, man. I mean, I just thought this was sort of like a one-and-done thing, like one-trick pony. And no, they made more Space Jam love. Never thought I'd ever see that in my life, man. I mean, I know they've done other Looney Tunes stuff, like Looney Tunes Back in Action. No, guys, no, that's not a good movie. And I know some of you like it, but I don't, man. I mean, if you're comparing Back in Action to Space Jam, there is no contest. Space Jam clearly wins, man. It's awesome. It really is, man. And yet, at the same time, I don't know if I really want another Space Jam movie, because everything that I'm seeing about it, I don't know if I'm loving where they're going with it, because I heard, and I know you guys did too, about the whole Pepe Le Pew thing, where Pepe Le Pew got canceled, and he was supposed to be in the movie, and apparently now he's not going to be in it because I guess it's now offensive to people, apparently. It's weird to me, because Pepe Le Pew has been around for decades upon decades. Thousands, millions of kids have enjoyed that character and enjoyed all these crazy and weird Looney Tunes characters and the weird and wacky and over-the-top ridiculous comedy. And now we're canceling it? I mean, there are certain things in society that I understand why we're doing it, guys. But Pepe Le Pew? Seriously? Why? What's the point of that? It makes literally no sense to me whatsoever why we're canceling Pepe Le Pew. It's Looney Tunes. It's harmless. I mean, I see that. I also see the redesigns of the characters, like Babs. I saw the redesign of Babs, and I'm like, they totally lost her sexiness. Like, her sexiness as a character is gone. I mean, seriously, she does not look sexy at all. It doesn't look like she has a great definition to her and a great design. It just looks like a mundane female rabbit design. It's not intriguing or anything. Because, oh Lord, we can't overdo it with you know, a hot female bunny. I'm like, what is going on here? What is happening? I mean, when we cannot even get a Pepe Le Pew in a Space Jam movie and a decently designed Babs Bunny, because we don't want to offend anybody, and we don't want to offend the moms and the parents, and God knows, you know, we don't want to affect the little kiddies. do you seriously think the kids give a damn about the sexy design of Babs Bunny? Do you think they care about, you know, what Pepe Le Pew the skunk is doing to the other female skunk? They don't care. I mean, where are we headed, man? I mean, I just don't understand it. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen more cancellations of other Looney Tunes characters. I'm really surprised, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, if they were to make a reboot of Roger Rabbit, what would happen? I mean, what about Jessica Rabbit? I mean, would she have the same design that she had back in the day? No, she wouldn't, because we don't want to over-sexualize things. We don't want to, you know, we don't want to give the wrong impressions. What wrong impressions? I don't understand this whole idea of wrong impressions and the whole idea of offending people. Kids can handle this stuff. I handled it when I was a kid, and a lot of other people did. I just don't understand it, man. I mean, that's why I love movies like Space Jam, because it was back in the day when you could make a certain amount of kids comedy what you could do, and you didn't have to censor it. You didn't have to be worried about some sort of group getting offended by one simple joke or a design of a character being too sexy or intriguing. What is going on right now? I don't understand, man. I really don't. I mean, I'm not saying the Space Jam sequel is going to be terrible. It could be a good surprise. It could be really good. I mean, I understand why they're making it, because LeBron is like the Michael Jordan of his time, and LeBron's like, well, hey, Michael Jordan did it. Why not me? I mean, I won the championships. I've got the merchandise and the shoes, but I don't have Space Jam. Like, I mean, he probably thought of that, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that that Space Jam sequel is going to be a really terrible pale comparison to this movie. It really does. I mean, the canceling and the changing of the designs, man, we're just going down a very slippery slope of getting rid of things. And how far are we willing to take this? I mean, we're doing it to the Looney Tunes, for Christ's sake. Wow. Where are we going next, man? I have no idea. Good God. And you do get a lot of special features here. You get commentary. Oh, I love that. You get commentary by Bugs, Daffy, the director. That's great. You get a bunch of featurettes, theatrical trailer. Not bad, man. I mean, there is so many things in my childhood. There are so many nostalgic things, from, you know, cartoons to action figures to so many other things that honestly would never even fly today. They just wouldn't. And I miss those days. I miss those days for kids nowadays, because unfortunately kids are going to grow up with a watered down Space Jam movie instead of this one, which is so much better, or potentially better. The good old days. I do really miss them, guys. Not gonna lie. I really do, man. Damn shame. They do have that. They also still have those steelbooks of Saw. I am amazed that they still have these, guys. I told you last week, if they're still here, that's insane that they still have the Saw steelbooks, man. I am amazed that they still have them. They're amazing. These are really great. I love the design of these. It's a really great limited edition. Like I said, I'm going to wait until there's a full-on huge collector's edition box set, but man, if you only like the first Saw movie, this is amazing. This is like a must-get, dude. That is fantastic. And you know, for like $18.99, I'm surprised these went. I mean, the other 4K steelbooks went fast, but this is still sitting here. That is kind of crazy to me. Not gonna lie, man. That's kind of nuts. I mean, they have that. Oh, and by the way, somebody literally, as I was filming Space Jam, they literally took the last copy of Scott Pilgrim. They just literally snatched it up, man. So those 4Ks are going fast. Whether it's the Steelbook or the regular 4K, they are definitely big movers this week. That is for damn sure, man. And probably Space Jam will eventually be the same. Just saying, man. Wow. Well, a little bit of 4K love so far. Let's see what else they got. And over on the other side of the new releases, man, they are empty over on this side big time. I mean, they are all out of all of the Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, all of the editions, they are so bare, like Mother's Hubbard cupboard, man. That's crazy. Man, they are really empty in a big bad way. I mean, definitely didn't restock this. There's a little bit of Batman Long Halloween, Soul, Raya, Tom and Jerry, which seems to still not sell, obviously. That, Barb and Star, of course, something that still is not going to sell, guys. However, out of all of this stuff, the one thing that is the most important is Howard the Duck. I mean, everything else can be absolutely empty. But as long as Howard the Duck is here, everything's A-okay, baby. Yes, indeed. Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck. Oh my God, do I love Howard the Duck, man. I ended up watching this film back in the VHS days. Yes, my mother and father taped this movie on VHS. This tells you all you need to know about their taste in movies. You kind of want to know where I get my taste in movies? Yeah, right from my mother and father. They have good taste. What can I tell you guys? Oh man, and what a wild, weird, bizarre, over-the-top, ridiculous movie this is. And I love every minute of this movie. I really do, man. I mean, how can you not love a movie about an intergalactic duck that is trying to face off against intergalactic demons and play guitar and rock and roll and have sex with Leah Thompson? How can you not love that? I mean, seriously, this is all kinds of awesome, man. And I never got the hate from a lot of people, because a lot of people hate on this movie so much. Oh my God, it's offensive and it's so cheesy and crappy, and I'm like, have you seen any of the comic books? I mean, he literally fights a werefrog, a man that turns into a space radish. I mean, God, the comic books are really weird anyways, man. I mean, so the movie just took its cues from the comic book, to be fair. And I just love the quirkiness and the weirdness of this movie, man. And I love the design of Howard. I love the fish out of water comedy and the just really weird intergalactic hijinks that he gets to on Earth. I love Leah Thompson here. Leah Thompson she was such a really great 80s it girl anyways. And like Howard the Duck was awesome. And I gotta give credit to her, because how many actresses are really willing to take a role where they have sex with an animatronic duck? I'm serious. How many actresses would have literally went there? Like, oh yeah, it says in the script I'm supposed to have sex with the talking duck. Is there any way we can get by that? Honey, your career's gonna be instantly better if you have sex with a duck. Trust me. The kids are gonna love it. And she went with it, man. Oh my God, I love that so much, dude. I really do, man. I thought Howard the Duck had really great personality. I just love the bizarreness of this movie. You just can't make movies like Howard the Duck anymore. It's just literally impossible. There is no way you would literally have a movie where a talking intergalactic duck has sex with a female hottie. You have no idea. There's just no way, man. You just can't do it anymore. Oh, it's so ridiculous and so crazy and wild, but yet it's so fun. And the even weirder and wildest thing about this movie is the fact that it was produced and like really helped by George Lucas, of all people. How crazy is that? Star Wars George Lucas, man. Like Industrial Light and Magic, Mega Master George Lucas helped make Howard the Duck. That's wild to me. That's instantly wild, man. But oh wow, that's great, man. My God, I love Howard the Duck so much, man. Oh, this is pure crazy nostalgia, man. I haven't seen this movie in years, and I never thought in a million years that this movie would get 4K love. I mean, I thought there's a lot of movies that get 4K love that I'm like, okay, I get it, but I'm like, Howard the Duck? And then I'm like thinking, come on, it's about damn time Howard the Duck gets love. I mean, if Fast and Furious can get love, why can't Howard the Duck? That is for damn sure, man. Oh, this is so cool, man. I mean, Howard the Duck is cool. He gets in bed with the hotties. He plays killer guitar. And he's funny as hell. I want to be like Howard the Duck. If I can only get with Leah Thompson, my life would be complete. That's one thing that Howard the Duck has over me. Damn you. I'm funny. I play guitar. But I haven't got with Leah Thompson. You bastard. Oh my god. Oh, some great featurettes here. Nice. Oh, it's so cool, man. And a young Tim Robbins as well. My god, this movie is all kinds of awesome, man. Cancel culture will never make another Howard the Duck. However, I'm so glad that we have at least the one movie that we get to cherish and love. We've seen him make cameos in other Marvel movies, but we'll never get another Howard the Duck like this. And we may not have seen other 4K Steelbook love, but at least we see Mortal Engines. I kind of wish we had seen the other ones and not Mortal Engines. I know, guys. For $24.99, the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook packaging for Mortal Engines. I mean, it does look nice, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty sweet. I just wish the movie was better. I know. I mean, look, I love a good fantasy epic. I really do. And Mortal Engines has a lot of really good ideas and a lot of really interesting creativity and designs and an interesting story. I just kind of feel like they really missed the mark with this film. I mean, first off, the movie is way too long. I mean, Mortal Engines is trying to be like Lord of the Rings. You're not Lord of the Rings, okay? And another problem here is that this is so CGI heavy. I mean, it's so beyond CGI heavy. It's just a CGI love fest. And at a certain point, the problem that I have, and maybe it's just me, I'm an old school effects guy, right? Like Jurassic Park and a lot of those other ones, that it's okay to mix CGI with real practical effects. But when you go too CGI heavy, the world feels artificial. It doesn't feel real and lived into me. And you lose something along the way. Like, just imagine if a movie like The Labyrinth was all CGI. I think you would feel like you had lost a little bit of the magic to it. Or The Dark Crystal. I mean, something like that. Or The Wizard of Oz, or Return to Oz, stuff like that. I mean, if it was just all a CGI-laden crap fest, I mean, you wouldn't like it, man. I mean, maybe you kind of would, but I don't think you would get that same sort of lived-in feel world that it actually exists that's in front of your eyes. It does lose something along the way. I think the story is way overcomplicated. I think the characters at points are intriguing, but at other points are extremely bland. I mean, they really are. And the problem with a movie like Mortal Engines now, and actually a lot of movies like this, is that they're just made for making them sake to keep these effects houses in business. Like, I look at Peter Jackson, right? And Peter Jackson helped produce this movie and helped write it and everything. He didn't direct it, but, I mean, he did everything but direct the damn thing. But his company, Weta, I mean, they need work. So, you know, they make this big, sprawling movie to give Weta a lot of work. The problem is that movies nowadays, these fantasy-based movies, they're not made out of creativity anymore. They're not made out of a sense of imagination or out of a sense of purpose. They're made because, you know, we want to exploit a franchise, or we want to give these effects houses business. So we want to do this big, laden, crazy CGI, you know, manic movie. I think there's a good movie to be made in Mortal Engines. I think there is. It's a good, interesting, young adult series, and I think you could have made a great franchise out of this, but I think this first movie, unfortunately, majorly missed the mark. And there's a lot of these ones that do. A lot of these young adult movies, fantasy epics, they try to go big, and I think they fail. Unfortunately, they're just not able to pull it off as I think they wanted to. It's an interesting concept, an interesting idea that unfortunately just didn't really hit the mark the way they were hoping for. This was supposed to be this big sprawling series with many sequels and a franchise potential, merchandising, you name it, and you can't make a movie just out of merchandising alone. You can't make a movie for the sake of wanting to make a franchise. You have to make a movie for the sake of wanting to tell this story, wanting to actually be creative and do something unique that hasn't been done before, and tell a sprawling tale that's worthy of being told. I think Mortal Engines can be that movie, but I'm more for a reboot of this. I think a reboot in the proper hands would do a good job with this, but under the direction of a Peter Jackson that just wants to employ his effects houses and misses the point of a fantasy epic. I mean, it's weird because Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings, which is amazing. And it feels lived in, and it's not all this CGI stuff. And then you look at something like The Hobbit or Mortal Engines, and it's all CGI. I mean, The Hobbits sometimes are CGI. All the bad guys are CGI to a certain extent. It's like, enough. Sometimes something practical and lived in is the best way to go about it. Am I wrong, guys? I mean, there's a great idea here and a great concept, but I think they just went about it the wrong way, man. I think they really did. Well, interesting bonus features, though. Welcome to London, 5-part, wow, 5-part documentary, huh? Not bad. I mean, jeez. I mean, not great movies get more special feature love than great movies. How is that possible? I don't know, guys. But, I mean, if you love it, I understand it. And I understand why you would love it. It's a good fantasy idea. I just don't think it was executed the right way. But that's just me. I like my old school stuff. I really do, man. And some of the new school fantasy stuff just can't compete, man. I mean, truly, just can't. At least not the way I hope for. Just saying, man. But, I mean, they do at least have a couple more 4K love. However, they are massively empty in a big bad way. Well, with a few releases here, a few releases there, wonder what else Best Buy will have. And in the back with the new releases, seems like a lot of the same love, but there is one thing worth checking out, man, and that's another 4K upgrade that came out this week, guys. Doctor Strangelove, the 4K Blu-ray digital for $21.99. Look at that. Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Oh, wow, man. What a great 4K upgrade to see, man. Doctor Strangelove. Stanley Kubrick, baby. Stanley Kubrick. You know, Stanley Kubrick is an acquired taste, I would say. I do think he is an acquired taste in a lot of ways, man. I mean, not everybody is going to like everything he does. I mean, I do really like Barry Lyndon, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut. Of course, The Shining is everybody's favorite. I mean, let's be real. He's made a lot of very interesting movies over the course of his career. Some are better than others. Some are terribly misunderstood. And Doctor Strangelove is somewhere in between. It's a very popular movie that people do embrace, but it's also one of those weird oddities that sometimes you wonder, what were they actually trying to attempt with this movie? And it is a little bit of a mix of a lot of different things. I mean, it's a little bit of a satire on war films. It's also a comedy. It's a drama. It's a thriller. It's got a lot of different ideas all wrapped up into one with this movie, man. It really does. And I gotta give Stanley Kubrick credit because it's a very interesting and unique take on a war film. The idea of nuclear war, the idea of having to convince somebody that this is all a hoax in order to stop the catastrophe from happening. Like how weird is that, man? It's just, I mean, in any other filmmaker's hands, this would be a straight up parody. I mean, truth be told, it would be a straight up parody. It would be one of those like Zucker Brothers movies, or like Not Another Teen Flick or some shit like that. It would be. Okay, but in the hands of a master filmmaker like Kubrick, it turns into something much different. It turns into something that's a message about war and about our appetite and our sensation for war and politics and our hunger for power and the people who choose life and death and how decisions are made and how it could come down to one ridiculous scenario that could literally put the world in the brink of war. It's so interesting and fantastic to me, and it's such an oddity of a film. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate what Kubrick was trying to do. Was Kubrick 100% successful with Strangelove? I don't know if he's 100% effective with everything he was trying to pull off with this movie, but man, is he bold with this film, man. I mean, this is a much more bolder film than The Shining is, or Barry Lyndon, or Eyes Wide Shut. This is probably, in my opinion, his most boldest and unique film that he ever made. And maybe that's a bold statement to make. Maybe it is, but I truly believe that yes, The Shining is the more popular movie, and it's definitely my favorite among Kubrick, but I think his masterpiece is Dr. Strangelove. It is, because he was able to pull off a movie and pull off different genres within one film, where I think he was able to master all these different genres and make it quirky, make it unique, make it funny, make it dramatic, and yet still end up, you know, getting love from the Academy Awards, and still able to pull off a movie that really makes you think and really makes you entertained at the same time. There's so many things he's going for in this film, and I think he's able to pull it off in spades. He really is. I think another star of this movie, I mean, yes, Kubrick is definitely the star of this. I mean, the way he's able to master so much of the genres within Dr. Strangelove is phenomenal. And all the different ideas of paranoia and war, happy governments. I mean, he has a lot to say, and he does it in a very quirky yet satire-ish style way. But he's still able to make it so dramatic. Man, he's amazing. But the main star, other than Kubrick, is Peter Sellers. I mean, Peter Sellers is amazing in this movie, guys. He's fantastic. I think he plays not one, not two, but three different characters, I think he plays in this. He is phenomenal. He was the master of his time, man. He really was. I mean, the Pink Panther movies, that really great dramatic film, Being There, which I really love him in as well. He was the master of personalities. He could have multiple roles in a movie and make every one of them unique and different and master every single one of them. He was phenomenal. He was basically what, you know, like Lon Chaney was back in the day. He was like what Eddie Murphy would be years later, is a person who could do multiple roles in a movie and yet completely pull it off and believable, and it's fantastic. He was able to do it, and I gotta give him so much credit here, because honestly, Kubrick puts a lot on his plate, man. I mean, Kubrick is asking this guy to be funny, to be dramatic, not make it a parody, not make it like over-the-top ridiculous, but just subtle enough where you can get the hints of comedy, but yet you can get those dramatic shades as well. He gives him a lot of stuff on his plate, but I think at the end of the day, he trusted Sellers to do his job, to basically pull off these characters, because he knew that Sellers could do it, and Sellers excelled amazingly. And I gotta give Sellers credit, because everybody knows Sellers as a comedian, and he's a brilliant comedian from back in the day, brilliant. But it's movies like Dr. Strangelove that if you watch it, yes, there's comedy in here, and he's definitely going for the comedy in a big bad way. There are certain moments with the ex-German scientist that you're like, okay, this is really over the top and weird, man. And Kubrick is just like, okay, I'm just letting him go, man. And okay, we'll see where he goes next with this. And he's doing some strange shit. But honestly, there's moments that are really touching, and moments that you fear him, and I give Sellers all the credit in the world, man. He is far better than people ever gave him credit for, man. Everybody was like, oh, he's just the funny guy, and that's all he ever was. No, man, he was much more than that, and movies like Dr. Strangelove can prove it. I mean, yes, he can bring the funny. He's natural at that. The other stuff can be much more tricky, and certain actors cannot do it. But Sellers was, because Sellers was so much better than people really wanted to give him a chance for. Everybody was willing to put him in Pink Panther, Pink Panther movie number 10 or whatever like that. They were able to put him in the ridiculous stuff, but I think he was so much more than that. And these movies definitely prove it. And man, Kubrick gave him quite a hell of a homework assignment trying to pull this movie off, and Sellers excelled in spades. He really did, man. This is an amazing film, dude. And look at the features on here. Holy shit. Oh my god, man. A whole bunch of interviews, featurettes, documentaries. Holy cow, man. This is a massive amount of special features here. I mean, for $21.99, that's a hell of a steal, man. And if you do not have Dr. Strangelove in the collection, well, first of all, you've got to dive into some Stanley Kubrick love. Stanley Kubrick is not the most accessible director of all time. His movies are not the most mainstream, but he definitely knows how to tell one hell of a tale, and he's a master filmmaker. He really is, man. And honestly, anybody who calls themselves a movie lover, anybody who calls himself a movie fan, there are certain movies out there that need to be watched, and Dr. Strangelove is one of them. It really honestly is, guys. Dr. Strangelove is amazing, and it's one of those movies that is a must-watch. It really is. It's a movie that can't be passed up. The satire is absolutely amazing here, and the acting is phenomenal, and the way that they ride the line between satire and drama is amazing, and the precision can only be done by a master filmmaker, and that is Kubrick himself. Amazing. Love that movie, man. And other than that, well, not much else more love to show off, unfortunately, but a little bit, well, hey, it goes a long way. Let's head out. This week, guys, I think the name of the game this week is 4K, because, like, as far as, like, new releases, yeah, not much, but the 4K is all over the place, man. Talk about upgrade love. I mean, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or so upgrades this week, maybe a little bit more. That is insane, man. I mean, who needs new release love when you've got 4K upgrade love? That is for damn sure, guys. And this week definitely proved that if you're into 4K, man, you are loving it this week. You are absolutely loving it. You're like Demi Moore in Indecent Proposal, where like you've got all your 4Ks on your bed and you're like you're just spreading them all around your body. Probably not the best idea. But if you're doing that, hey, it's your business, man. Your business. Whatever, man. But you know what? Some weeks new release love tends to take a back seat, and the 4K love definitely takes the actual driver's seat and get into the driver and, man, put the pedal to the metal. And I think this week definitely did it, guys. That is for damn sure. not a lot of love, and I wish we would have seen a lot of the Steelbook love here at Best Buy. Unfortunately, not so much. I think that a lot of people ended up, I think, either scalping the damn things or, quite frankly, a lot of pre-orders. And if you guys go to your Best Buys, you know they're exactly not the most plentiful in the entire world. And I'm sure that the Steelbook love is going to go fast. I mean, hell, they did here, so I'm assuming they're going to go everywhere. So if you can get them, go early and try to pick them up, because that might be your best bet. That might be the only bet, guys. But outside of that, still we saw a lot of 4K love, and that is very much appreciated for a lot of movies that definitely deserve it. That is for damn sure, guys. Alright, not half bad this week, dare I say. Not bad at all. Let's head home and finish the video. Alright, everybody. That'll do it for the Blu-ray and DVD out and about video this week. And this was a very unique and very fascinating week as far as a sort of physical media release week is concerned, because normally we'll have one big or semi-big new release, and then we get maybe a 4K upgrade here, a 4K upgrade there. But this week really didn't have any major new release. The new releases were technically old movies that were getting 4K upgrades. That was the big highlight of the week. And don't get me wrong, those movies are amazing and they deserve the love that they definitely get. But there was no like outstanding new release to really prop the week up. It was all these older titles getting the 4K upgrade love. And I kind of feel like I'm surprised that we haven't seen more of these weeks. And maybe in the future, this might become the norm, where you see more 4K upgrades than you actually see new releases. It's really the first time I've seen that in probably a long time, if ever. It was kind of fascinating and interesting. And it was something different that I wasn't normally used to. But hey, I'm cool with it. It's just that usually you have one central major film release coming out, and then you have a lot of smaller stuff and a little bit of upgrade love. But here it was pretty much upgrade love that was taking over the week. And you know, look, I'm somebody that appreciates a lot of older movies, and if putting these editions out on, you know, the 4K format, if giving them a little bit more of a highlight, if that brings more spotlight to these movies, then that can never be a bad thing. So all things considered, yeah, we might not have gotten a big new mega release this week, but older films do need to take the spotlight every once in a while, and they deserve just as much love as the newer stuff. So consider me a happy man overall. A very unique and different physical media week, that's for damn sure, guys. And also interesting because, you know, me going over to Best Buy and not seeing any of the Steelbooks, and actually a lot of the physical media was already gone at that point. And while I was there, more people were buying a bunch of stuff. And part of me was slightly bummed out, but I also have to admit, part of me was also really happy. And the reason why I was really happy, guys, is because it seemed like a lot of physical media has sold at Best Buy. That's a good thing, because at least that says to the higher ups, that says to the manager at that Best Buy location, that says, okay, people are still buying movies, people are still buying stuff from the physical media section. That means we shouldn't get rid of it. We should keep it. I mean, you have no idea sometimes how tough it really is for physical media to get ahead. And the idea that these major retailers sometimes treat physical media like it's some sort of thing in the back that we need to basically only keep a limited amount of, and no one's gonna buy it, and it's just sitting there and collecting dust and cobwebs. And I love seeing when physical media sells, because at least at that point, nobody can say that they're not making money off it. Nobody can say that it's collecting dust. That it's actually moving. The product is moving. People are interested in these titles. If you stock it, I've always said this, if you stock it, they will come. And this week proves it. You put good product out there, you put limited edition releases, steelbook love, people are going to want it. People are going to want these movies, and seeing these releases sell is only a good thing for physical media. Yeah, it's cool to see all the releases and everything, but seeing it sell tells me that there's an interest there, and shows me that there's still a hunger for physical media out there as long as these retailers are able to actually put the damn stuff out. So hopefully that signals to Best Buy that they should keep on bringing the product in and maybe actually stock the shelves a little bit more. That would definitely help. You know, empty shelves mean empty sales. Bring the product in and I guarantee you it will sell. This week proves it, guys. So hopefully that lesson is learned, at least just a little bit. But not a lot of releases this week, but a lot of old movie love in new upgrade form, and that's never a bad thing. And it seems like people are definitely interested in it. So hopefully you guys picked up something good. If you did, definitely let me know. As far as I'm concerned, oh yeah, baby. I think I picked up some titles. Indeed I did, man. So the first title that I got, actually I picked up through eBay. And I wanted to pick this edition up, and that is none other than the director's cut of Hostel. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, didn't one of your subscribers, Ryan, end up sending me the double feature of Hostel and Hostel Part 2? Yes, and I am keeping it in the collection. Trust me, Ryan, I definitely am. However, I kind of wanted the singular release of Hostel as well, and I believe this edition is out of print or damn close to it. It goes for a little bit of money on eBay and online, and I was looking for a brand new copy with a low price, and I ended up contacting the seller, and I tried to bargain with him, and I got a little bit of the price I wanted and a little bit of what he wanted. It sort of met a little bit in the middle, and so I ended up getting this. I do really love Hostel, man, and I used to own the DVD, and now that's completely rid of, and now I have the double feature, and I now have the director's cut version of Hostel, man. It's one of Eli Roth's best films. It's brutal. It's one of the movies that definitely became a signature in the torture porn genre. Yeah, it did. Rightfully or wrongfully, however you want to say it, it's still a great movie regardless of what label you actually put on the damn thing. But this edition is really great because of all of the special features on here. And there is a ton of special features, guys. I mean, all of the commentaries and the featurettes and everything. I mean, the director's cut, I believe, or the regular edition that was on DVD had a bunch of features on it as well, and so this ports over everything, so that's another reason why I wanted this edition as well. I'll always have the double feature that you gave me, Ryan, but it does have Hostel Part 2, which I do not like. So I was like, I also want to get the standalone release as well. I just do. So I'm glad, and I love the artwork. The artwork's cool too, so more Hostel love is never a bad thing. Oh, and speaking of Hostel love, guys, I also ended up picking up the Blu-ray of Hostel Part 3. Yes. Do you feel lucky? Yo, indeed, baby. Look at this. Now, when I was talking about the double feature that I got from Ryan, I was talking about Hostel Part 3 and how I'm actually a big fan of Hostel Part 3. I think it's really great. And one of my subscribers ended up commenting that they did actually release a Blu-ray edition overseas, which I had no idea about, because it's interesting. Hostel Part 3 only here in America got a DVD release. It never got a Blu-ray release. And I just find it so odd because in different regions, certain movies get Blu-ray releases. And then here in the States, all we get is a regular DVD edition, which is not bad. It's still physical media, but I just find it sort of odd that one region will get a Blu-ray release and the other one completely gets ignored. It's just odd to me. And so I've always sort of been waiting for this movie to come on Blu-ray. I thought, well, at some point Hostel Part 3 is going to come on Blu-ray, right? It's that Hostel film. I mean, the other ones are on Blu-ray. Why not Hostel Part 3? And it just never happened. So when my subscriber ended up like telling me about this, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of want to get that. So I went on Amazon UK and I found it and I pulled the trigger, man. I mean, this is a really good movie, man. It really, really is. I mean, it's not as good as the first Hostel, but it is better than the second Hostel. And I just like the Vegas setting, and I think a Hostel film set in Vegas is actually a really solid idea. It's also ended up directed by Scott Spiegel. Now, if you don't know who Scott Spiegel is, he ended up directing Intruder, he helped write Evil Dead 2, and many, many more. He's a big collaborator with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, and he's a really great director that has a really great sense of horror and horror comedy, and I think Hostel Part 3 really works. I really do, man. I just like the idea of a hostel film set in Vegas and the idea of this bachelor party, and I think it's a unique entry within the Hostel franchise, man. I kind of wish they did more Hostel movies in different style settings. Like, you know, yes, one is in Vegas and then they do another with a different concept and idea. That would make it really fresh and unique and interesting. I would love to see that, but I kind of have a feeling because Hostel Part 3 didn't exactly light the world on fire that we're actually ever going to get that. But wishful thinking, just don't think it'll ever really become a reality. But I do love Hostel Part 3, man. It is actually a really solid film that deserves a hell of a lot more love than it actually gets. But I decided, when the hell not? I'm going to pull the trigger. So that's what I did, guys. The next release that I got is from Orbit DVD. And I was just browsing on Orbit DVD, and I was looking at some of the releases, and I'm like, oh, this movie. Yeah, I've been wanting to pick this up. Oh my god, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad this is actually not a bad price. I'm gonna have to pick this one up, and that is Chillerama. Look at that, man. Now, I actually did have the DVD. I remember finding the DVD during one of my Dollar Tree hunts, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, the DVD of Chillerama. And I was always hoping one of the times I would end up finding the Blu-ray at the Dollar Tree, and that never happened. I was like, oh, okay. And so I've always wanted the Blu-ray of it, and so I just decided, what the hell, I'll upgrade, man. I mean, I really do enjoy this movie. It's quirky, it's weird, it's some very unique horror with some very unique horror filmmakers: Adam Green, Joe Lynch, Adam Rifkin, Tim Sullivan. It's unique, quirky, incredibly imaginative and creative, and I really do enjoy this one, man. It's a very interesting slice of pulpy horror cinema that has a unique bend and twist to it that I really do love, man. So why not upgrade from the DVD to Blu-ray? Chillerama, why not? I also, on Orbit DVD, I found this very interesting trauma movie that I remember from back in the day, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they actually put out an edition of this movie? Okay. I was kind of surprised by that, but actually pleasantly surprised that Orbit had it, and I had to get it, guys. And that is none other than Surf Nazis Must Die. Oh man, the gnarliest cult comedy surf action adventure ever. Oh man, from 88 films. I can't believe the 88 films ever released this, man. This is another one of those movies where, see, it's kind of interesting because trauma is an acquired taste. I mean, it really is, man, because I remember going to a trauma movie at a local revival theater in my area, and some person and their friends were there, and like halfway through the movie they ended up walking out of the movie, and they were like, this is bullshit, this is terrible, and it's a B-movie crap fest, and they hated the movie. And I'm like, you really need to do your research, man, because trauma, I give trauma a lot of credit, man, because they're never beholden to, you know, executives or a studio, you know, overseeing them. It's never like that, man. They do weird and unique and quirky and oddball concepts, and they just take the ball and run with it. And they do it in their always very unique and in indie sensibility that they've always had, man. And Surf Nazis Must Die, man, is one quirky film, man. It's odd, it's out there, it's bizarre as shit, but it is really fun, man. And I gotta give Troma a lot of credit, because I love Troma. Whether it's the Toxic Avenger, whether it's sort of old school movies from back in the day that I've always loved that they do, man. I mean, Surf Nazis Must Die and many, many others that they've accomplished and done. Sergeant Kabuki, man. A shit ton of them. And a lot of them, unfortunately, have never really gotten Blu-ray releases, which is weird to me. I mean, there have been some through Vinegar Syndrome that they've done from time to time. They have released Toxic Avenger on Blu-ray. Thankfully, Surf Nazis Must Die. But there's still other ones out there that I really want a Blu-ray release of. Like Monster in the Closet with a young Paul Walker. I would love to see that get a Blu-ray release. I would love it. Maybe down the road, but I kind of doubt it. And another one I really want on Blu-ray is Killer Condom. That's another one I really want. Like, why haven't released a Blu-ray yet of Killer Condom? Man, I'd buy that shit in a heartbeat, dude. I mean, I like weird, quirky films, man. I have a lot of them in the collection, no lie. And I am a fan of Troma. I can't say I love everything Troma, but when Troma does something right, they definitely do. And I think Surf Nazis Must Die is one of those weird movies that it has to be seen to be believed. I really do like it. It's quite good, man. At least for my weird taste, I do enjoy Surf Nazis Must Die, man. And the fact that I have a Blu-ray of this in the collection, that's wild, man. That is pretty damn wild, not gonna lie. And the other thing I got through Orbit DVD, and this one I had to get, because I am a fan of this movie, man. I've been a fan of this for a long time, and it's never been in the collection, not on DVD or even on Blu-ray, anything like that, until now, baby. And that is none other than Basic Instinct. Yes, from Studio Canal, baby. Look at that. Oh, man. Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone. Oh, look at that. Oh, you remember that scene, the infamous scene where she crosses her legs. Yes, oh my God. When you could freeze frame on the VHS, oh baby, when you could freeze frame on the VHS, those were the days. Trust me, we all did it. Oh man, what a great thriller this is, man. I love this movie, man. What a great sort of sexy murder mystery thriller. I love this movie, man. This is so good. The performances are great. Sharon Stone, man, my God, she is like the hottest in this movie. Like, you want her, but yet you're really scared of her at the same time. And you're like, oh my God, like, if I sleep with her, am I gonna wake up in the morning? But it could still be worth it. Like, you're like, I might just take the gamble. Like, oh man, it is so good. I really love it. The twists and the turns in here are fantastic, man. And I honestly forgot that this was directed by Paul Verhoeven, man. And I love Paul Verhoeven. I mean, Total Recall and RoboCop. He's awesome, man. Starship Troopers. Oh, dude, it's great, man. Basic Instinct is one of his best. It's great. When Studio Canal announced that they were putting this out, I was like, holy shit. They're doing an edition of this. I gotta get it, man. And then when Orbit had it for a really great price, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. I gotta get this movie, man. It's a really great movie. It's one of those really sexy thrillers that has really stood the test of time. There's a lot of ones that have come out nowadays that are sort of mundane or been there, done that. But then there's movies like Basic Instinct, which is really phenomenal and still is effective to this day, man. I mean, let's be real. There's Basic Instinct and then there's everything else, because Basic Instinct is so awesome, man. Ah, this is so great. I've never had it in the collection. A lot of really great special features. I had to bite the bullet, man. I had to. Can you really blame me, guys? Come on. Had to get Basic Instinct. All of those pickups are great. Don't get me wrong. They're amazing. However, oh, this might just beat them all, guys. Last but certainly not least, as far as the pickups are concerned. Ooh. Oh, yes. Oh, limited edition love? Limited edition steelbook love? Howard the Duck. Yes! Did you guys really think I wasn't going to pick up the steelbook of Howard the Duck? Now wait a minute, you guys are saying, hold on a second, they didn't have any copies at your Best Buy. Unless you pre-ordered them. Oh, indeed I did, man. I had a feeling. I had a little bit of a feeling, guys, just a little bit, that these were gonna sell out. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know for sure whether they were going to sell out or not, because I thought it's Howard the Duck. I mean, are the steelbooks really going to sell on this? And then I walked into Best Buy and I'm like, yep, they sold it. I'm so happy that I pre-ordered myself a copy. And I knew it was waiting for me. I knew when I walked into Best Buy, I knew this thing was waiting for me to pick it up. And I'm so glad that I did, man. Look at this. I'm going to open this up, guys. But that is amazing. Look at that. Oh, my God. This is awesome. Oh, that's sweet. I mean, I saw the picture of it online, and I was like, that looks cool. But then in person, oh, my God. This is amazing. Oh, that is cool. Oh, look at that. That is all kinds of cool. Oh, that's sweet. Look at that. Oh, that. Come on, guys. That is a really solid steelbook. That is amazing. On the back side. That's cool. Oh. Oh, nice. Howard. That was great. Oh, my God. I love this movie. I love this movie so much, man. Weird, cheesy as it is, I don't care, guys. This is an amazing movie. Okay, so here I am at Best Buy, right? And I'm in the checkout customer service line. I'm picking up my steelbook. And the cashier looks at the steelbook. And she's like, Howard the Duck, you know, I've never heard of this one, but I've sort of seen the cover art before. I've seen stuff. What's it about? And here I am trying to explain Howard the Duck to her. I'm like, well, it's this intergalactic space duck that talks, and he comes to Earth and fights intergalactic demons, and here I am talking about Howard the Duck here, and I'm like, oh, and by the way, he plays guitar, and she's just looking at me, and she's like, oh, this is quirky and interesting, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and he has sex with a human chick, and she's like, what? and I'm like, yeah, you know Leah Thompson, and she's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, he has sex with Leah Thompson, and she's like, oh, I thought this was like Daffy Duck or something, like. he has sex with? I'm like, yeah, she's wearing like slinky clothing, and she gets in the bed and she's like, hey, come in here, you know. And she's, the more I'm saying about the movie, the more she's like, I'm like, oh, you just gotta watch the movie, man. And I'm saying to her, I'm like, well, you know, George Lucas helped make this movie. And she's like, George Lucas? And I'm like, this movie's an oddity, man. I mean, there is no way in hell, and I said it at Best Buy, there is no way in hell this movie could ever get made again. And if it got made today, it would be incredibly PC. They would take out so many elements from this movie to try to pander to audiences or try to make it successful. Howard the Duck is just such a weird and quirky movie that can only be made once. And I'm so glad that it got made, man. I mean, when this movie came out, it bombed so hard, man. And like, it got roasted by the critics, and everyone was like, what is this thing, man? This is so weird and odd. And I think Howard the Duck was ahead of its time. And I think slowly but surely, through cable and through physical media, VHS, and so on and so forth, people found this movie. And I think they found it when they were kids and teenagers, and it just stuck with them over the years. And I was one of those people. I really was, man. And the movie's always stuck with me. It was just so weird and odd. It just was like, how could it not stick with me? It was so amazing. Like a weird, talking, sarcastic duck that has sex with Leah Thompson. What the hell, man? And it's kind of interesting because I was talking to a guy at work about Howard the Duck, and we were like, you know, it's weird with Leah Thompson because she's made a career out of having awkward sex. Like, she tried to have sex with her son, you know, unknowingly her son in Back to the Future, and then she has sex with a weird space talking duck. like weird sex circumstances with Leah Thompson, man. My God. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. What a weird movie, man. But that's what makes it unique. They just don't make them like Howard the Duck anymore. They really don't, man. And this steelbook is tasty. I had to pre-order it, guys, because if I didn't, I was gonna easily regret it, man. This is too good to pass up. I mean, seriously, when are we ever gonna get another edition, another physical media edition like this for Howard the Duck? Probably never again. So I had to do it, guys. I had to. It was just too good not to, man. And it's too good not to check out physical media love, baby. Look at this. Some very interesting choices I got this time around for physical media love this week. But, I mean, when it comes to physical media, can you blame me? Any physical media is good physical media. Howard the Duck, Trauma, torture porn, and sexy Sharon Stone. It's a no-brainer. And before I let you guys go, I wanted to talk about this. So, if you are any physical media lover of any kind, you might be living on a different planet if you didn't hear about the news of Scream Factory putting out new editions, new 4K editions of Halloween 1 through 5. They were coming out with Elvira's second feature film. They're also coming out with an edition of Alone in the Dark, which is like everyone is going apeshit over because literally it's like that one's been requested God knows how many times, but people have been wanting that one for a long time. So that's a highly anticipated one, as is the 4Ks, you name it. People went apeshit for that. And yet there's a little bit of a dilemma. So they announced it recently, right? Scream Factory did. But before they announced it, like almost like a few days before, almost a week, there was rumblings about new Scream Factory stuff. And a Facebook group or a Facebook physical media news site, Dawn of the Discs, they ended up releasing the fact that these editions were coming out, and also the artwork, and they just spilled the beans. And apparently Shout Factory got so upset, I mean literally so incredibly upset by this news and the idea that it got leaked as much as it did, that they sent Dawn of the Discs a very angry response online, and it's sort of sparked a lot of controversy. Did what Dawn of the Discs do, was that the right move? I mean, because technically they spoiled what would have been a major announcement from Shout Factory, Scream Factory. They basically spoiled it. Everybody knew it was going to happen before it actually happened. And so it took a lot of thunder out from them actually announcing it themselves. I'm of two minds of this. Okay, I'm of two minds. On one hand, I understand where Shout Factory, Scream Factory is coming from, right? Because, as they put it, and I understand it from their point of view, right? You end up, like, having to make a lot of deals with these certain websites and these physical media online outlets like Diabolic DVD and a lot of these other places to like roll it out all at the same time, right? The artwork and the pre-orders and you name it. And with Amazon.com, all these online things. And you have to work with all these different partners in order to roll it out successfully the way you want it to. It takes a lot of effort. It seems so simple to us, but in fact, it's probably anything but. And I understand their frustration when they see this stuff get leaked, and it's not just Scream Factory, Shout Factory that gets upset by this. Everybody does. Whether it's Arrow or the Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, Code Red, you name it. Everybody ends up getting a little bit upset with the fact that these things get leaked ahead of time, right? Because these companies want to put out the notice at the time of their choosing, and when these outlets do that, it forces them to announce it earlier than maybe they wanted to, or they kind of feel like this announcement would have been really great, but these places have spoiled it. And unfortunately, that means that, you know, their other partners get pissed off by this, and it just ends up becoming a hassle and a frustration for a lot of people who have worked so hard to try to get this thing out to the marketplace. So I get it. Okay, I do. I understand their point of view. However, I also understand Dawn of the Discs' point of view, because at the end of the day, they are technically a physical media news site where they put out the latest news on the physical media releases, and look, they're looking for the clicks as much as anybody else is. Okay, that's truth be told. But also, you have to understand something, and it's one thing that I think these companies don't really get, or if they do, they don't understand the impact of it. Places like Dawn of the Discs is, in essence, it's free promotion for these studios. And it really is. I mean, think about this. They tell you about the new releases, right? And yes, maybe they tell you about the new releases before anybody else does, and maybe that spoils it to a certain extent, but it also hypes up people in a big bad way. I mean, think about this. You know ahead of time that they're putting this out, you suddenly get hyped. Oh my god, holy shit, they're coming out with this. And then you tell somebody else, and then they tell that person, and suddenly it's a snowball effect. And maybe maybe Dawn of the Discs will get to certain people that maybe sometimes these other companies aren't able to get to. I mean, think about this. I have heard about certain releases through Dawn of the Discs and nobody else. Like, there are certain Paramount titles that will be released that I heard about only through Dawn of the Discs. I didn't hear it through a Paramount release. I didn't hear about it through them. I heard about it through Dawn of the Discs. And they're a great hype machine. And all they're trying to do is keep physical media alive. And I can't say that I blame them on that, honestly. I can't say that I sit there and say, oh, they're wrong to hype physical media up and give people the opportunity to want these titles. Because let's be real. Let's be real, guys. Physical media is hanging on by a thread. It really is. And any momentum, any motivation to get physical media, I don't see as a bad thing. I mean, yes, sometimes these studios could see it as a problem because they take the wind out of their sails. Okay, so what? I mean, Shout Factory site, when they announced these, when they officially announced them, their website crashed. People wanted to get on there and pre-order them. I mean, they still got the clicks. So does it really matter the fact that Dawn of the Discs spoiled it like a few days ahead of time? I don't think it did. In fact, if anything, it might have hyped it up more. I mean, so you're just officially waiting for the announcement to happen at this point. And you know that when it does, you're going to get on it big time. And it also gives a lot of people a chance to maybe save money at this point. Because think about this, guys. Because maybe if that happened, maybe the people get blindsided by it. Oh my God, they just announced like 6 or 7 titles all at once, and I don't know if I have all the money for this. If you know a few days or a week ahead of time, you can plan. You can say, okay, I was going to get these releases, but I'm going to hold off now to get the Scream Factory stuff. And it gives you a little bit of time to plan how you're going to buy things, and it also gives you a chance to talk to other physical media collectors. I mean, think about this. This gets announced. On Blu-ray.com, everyone's talking about the artwork, and they're talking about what could be the special features, and it's all a hype machine at this point. It really is. It's a hype machine. And we need more hype machines as far as physical media is concerned, because the hype machine is real when it comes to streaming services. I mean, they are literally their own hype machines. I mean, you see ads for streaming services when you go to the fucking movie theaters nowadays, guys. They literally, they have their own hype machines, man. I mean, they literally do at this point. I mean, you literally have physical media copies that literally say, oh, the next season is on Disney Plus. And I mean, they do that, guys. So where is the hype machine for physical media? I mean, yes, you can go on Blu-ray.com, but how many people will really go there? I mean, yes, the niche group will, but what I love about Dawn of the Discs is that they're able to really put it out there as a really great place for the physical media lover. The idea of a movie lover, the idea of saving money, the idea of announcements. And let's be real, sometimes a lot of these studios don't even announce their titles. And so Dawn of the Disc is literally doing the work that some of these studios should be doing, and they don't even do that. Sometimes they just put out the releases, and that's it. Dawn of the Disc is literally telling you that they're putting these editions out there when the damn studios don't even do it themselves. So when I see Jeff Nelson and some of these guys from Shout Factory sending an angry letter to Dawn of the Discs, basically berating them for what they did. I get it. I understand it. I see their point of view, but I don't see anything wrong with Dawn of the Discs doing this. I mean, I think maybe in the future, I think if anything, I think what this, I guess what to say, this is a lesson, right? Because if I was Dawn of the Discs, I would talk to Shout Factory. I would talk to a bunch of these studios and say, hey, look, I'm willing to work with you guys. You know, give me a little bit of a hint at the artwork. Give me a little bit of a teaser announcement that I can put on my site to help you guys out. And so we're all working together. Physical media at this point is becoming more and more niche every single year. Why are we fighting one another? Aren't we all in the same camp that wants to keep physical media alive? Aren't we all in the same business of putting out great editions and releases and movies that really need to see the light of day? Aren't we in the business of putting out good products and selling really great editions and giving more awareness to physical media? So why are we against each other here? We don't need to be against each other. I understand one company gets angry and another company gets upset with this, and I get it, okay? I understand it. But at the end of the day, Shout Factories, Scream Factories, they're gonna make the money. They're gonna make the money on these editions, okay? They're gonna get the clicks, Dawn of the Discs are gonna get the clicks, and so everybody wins in the end. It's about keeping physical media alive. And if Dawn of the Discs wants to go out of their way and be the hype man for a lot of these releases, I say cool. I'm fine with it. Look, there's not many sites that are hype men for physical media anymore. I mean, there used to be a shit ton back in the day, guys. There used to be a crap ton of them. Most of them are gone. And I think that's why Dawn of the Discs is as respected as it is with a lot of the fan base. Because, you know, they give you alerts on deals, they give you alerts on new releases, and they keep you excited and invested in physical media. And how can that ever really be a bad thing? I mean, truly, how can that really ever be a bad thing? I don't think so, but then again, I think that when it comes to physical media, sometimes we need to embrace the hype. We need to embrace the fact that we need to give people excitement when it comes to these physical media releases and these titles and these editions. And to me, I look at a company like Dawn of the Discs, I look at them as a news organization, and I say that in a sea of algorithms, in a sea of digital overlords and streaming platforms that literally want you to give up all your physical media in order to do a monthly fee so that they can control the content you watch, to have somebody on the side of physical media, that can never be a bad thing, guys. Yes, they may stumble. Yes, they may do a few things wrong here and there that maybe they shouldn't supposed to be doing, but at the end of the day, they're doing the physical media God's work, and I appreciate what they do. That's just me. I do, guys. I mean, you guys may agree with me. You may disagree with me. I don't know. Let me know, guys. I mean, seriously. Yes, I know people can get upset, but at the end of the day, more places that appreciate physical media and give hype to these releases, how can you really deny that? Especially nowadays when we need all the help that we can get. I'm just saying. Definitely let me know what you guys think. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD Tuesday videos that I do. Check out the theatrical movie reviews with my friends. Movie hunting like Dollar Tree hunts, live streams, Blu-ray pickup videos, and much more. If you are a lover of movies and physical media, hit subscribe and become a part of the Film Fan Nation. I want to thank each and every one of you guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. My subscribers, you guys go out of your way to watch the videos, to engage with me, give me great feedback. I love each and every one of you so much. You really are the glue that keeps this channel together in a hell of a lot of ways, man. And trust me, I appreciate each and every one of you in a big bad way. I truly do, man. So thank you so much for the love and support. You give the love to me, and I hope I give the love right back to you. So thank you so much. Also, keep up to date with everything I'm doing through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. FilmFan108. Keep up to date with everything I'm doing, plus special pictures and videos I do from time to time on social media as well. And if you guys want to send any physical media love to the channel, care packages, movie posters, artwork, you name it, whatever you would like to send, it is not expected, but it is appreciated. And the P.O. box is in the description below. You guys have sent some amazing things my way. You really have, man. And you guys had told me. You guys said, hey, we want to send you stuff. Is there any way that we can send you stuff? Is there any way you can do something? And so I did this P.O. box for each and every one of you guys, and you have not disappointed me yet. It has been an amazing ride with the P.O. box, and let's hope that ride continues. If you do want to send any good stuff to the channel, you can definitely send it in the P.O. box down below. And I always appreciate the love that you guys send me. So thank you so much for all that you guys do for me. And trust me, I will see you guys back next week for a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video. Take care, everybody. And remember, happy hunting.